go.
Welcome back. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM and the AM Show on JoyNews on Multi TV. We are coming to you live from the AMA City Hall courtyard just opposite Kimbo Senior High School, down the streets from Kimbo, right behind Tema Station. Today we are launching Election Headquarters 2020. Remember, the hashtag is Election HQ. Hashtag Election HQ all over social media. Tell us what will inform your votes this year on December 7. The theme, of course, is building an informed electorate. I'm Daniel Dazi. I'm here with Mama V. Also, Abuaje. Hi, Mama V. Once
Hi,
again.
Daniel, and I want to get the business district center. I've said it now.
Central Business District.
Central Business District.
Oh, my God. Okay, let me stick to why we're here. Evans and Kojo joins us again. We're talking. Evans is the head of our political desk. He's going to be explaining what we're particularly doing new in the 2020 elections, Evans.
So as Daniel had said, this year our theme is building an informed electorate. And so you find that every program that we have developed, some of the programs are very loyal audiences who follow us in election years. When we transform into the election headquarters, you already know what they are. But every program is designed to deliver on that particular promise of building an informed electorate. One of the new ones you're going to do, and because both of you are doing the morning show, you know this, we call it the tracker. Now, the tracker is a very interesting one. What we found over the years is each time a government is elected and they go into government, you start putting to them the promises they've made to you when they were campaigning for your vote. And then they start making adjustments to the actual text of the promise they make to you. So I give an example with this particular government. In fact, the day that it struck me so hard that the best way to serve our audience this year is to bring that sort of program in was when I did an interview with Antonia Kutose, who is the Minister for
Monitoring and Evaluation.
Remember that interview? So I asked him the question about one district, one factory. And he says, listen, we never said that we'll do it ourselves. We said that private sector will do it. In other words, if the private sector doesn't do it, and there's a partnership, then you don't expect us to fulfill that particular promise in whole. And so, yeah, I mean, in essence, he actually said in that interview that we did not interrogate them enough to get the specifics. I don't even remember that interview.
I remember very well. That was on PM Express.
Yes, we didn't interrogate them enough to get the specifics. And I'm like, but you owed us a duty to break it down. And I said to him that it was deliberate to sort of hide the exact wording so that when down the line you can't do it, when we ask you, say, yeah, but, you know.
Exactly.
So I checked the exact wording in the manifesto. And indeed, it said it's in partnership with the private sector. But I recall, on many political platforms, beyond what they said in the text, a lot of their folks who are campaigning have said, we'll do it. In fact, the president has said it too on platforms, that by the end of my first term, I will have one district, one factory. One district, one factory means every district, by the time you finish your first term, will have a factory.
We even went into details of describing what kind of factory, what a factory is.
You remember that?
Cottage industries.
You remember that? Now,
so much
3 years on, we asked the question. He says, but that's not exactly what we said. But when you go to, he refers to the text. The text is exactly that. But they've said that on a platform. So we say, this time, we're not going to hold you only to the text of your manifestos. Okay. We're also going to hold you to what you say on political platforms.
That's right.
Because that's where they run to. They use the text, they refer to the text, but meanwhile, on the platform where the people, the vast majority of people who are going to vote will be listening and not reading the text. So they buy into what has been said and not what necessarily has been written. So we say this year, with a tracker, which is mainly sitting on the morning show, we are going to track every promise you make, not only what you write down in the manifesto. I'll give you a classic example. John Mahama says, when I come back, I will scrap the double track. The day he said that yesterday, the next morning, Tracker is live on the morning show saying, okay, you said that. Well, is that feasible? We're going to bring the experts in. We're going to interrogate that. By the end of that conversation, remember we say building an informed electorate. We will leave the electorate who is listening at a place to make a decision whether that promise John Mahama has made, one, is feasible. Is he taking us for granted? Is he just throwing promises at us because he wants to win the election?
Right.
So
where will the money come from?
Where will the money come from?
That was an important question.
Where will the money come from? How are they going to deal with the excess in the classroom because already there's huge numbers. If you scrap it, why are you going to accommodate the excess that is already in terms of the numbers? So you can make a decision by the time we finish scrutinizing that promise, goodness, should I still vote for him on that promise or I shouldn't? But that is what the tracker is.
I wish I could get some of our guests here to just chip in a word or two on what they make of how politicians promise. You know, when a politician comes to you before the election and they make a promise, how seriously do you take them? If I can just have, if I can just.
So whilst we try to do that, this is new. This is one of the
new
things.
There's one more reason why this particular, and it's a segment, by the way. It's not an entire show. Yeah. It's a segment that will sit on the Super Morning Show. Now, one of the other reasons why it's important is because often when a government is assessing itself, it simply goes to the text. It takes the manifesto and completely ignores all the other things they may have said on platforms that are not in the manifesto.
Which is what the Vice President just did.
Exactly. Like, oh, we're going to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. You may not find it in the manifesto, but it's a promise that was made, and there was a timeline put to it. So it's important for us to be able to keep the electorate informed of all promises, not just the ones that you can go back to in the documents, but every single thing that has been said in the hope of getting your vote.
Great. And for me, on the tracker, we again want to hear, these people call it, people have called it many, many times, the People's Manifesto, etc., etc. We say we don't want anything to slip, only to come back when the party is in power to realize, oh my God, we should have demanded more specifics for the audience.
You know, I actually had, this is important, I actually had the Deputy Finance Minister, Kweku Kwating, tell us on the Super Morning Show that when he's designing policy in the policy room, he's not necessarily informed by what is said on the campaign platform. And this on the record. He actually said this on the record, that he's not necessarily informed by what is said on the campaign platform because he's now designing policy. He's in the policy room. But I want to quickly go to Winston, who is in the audience, who will speak to a couple of people and find out from them, when they hear a politician make a promise, what do they think? What's on their minds? Winston.
To them. So when they hear all the promises from presidential candidates, how do they feel? Let me start off with you, Jonathan. Good morning. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. When we hear of them, we know that they are coming to transform Accra or Ghana. So we believe what they said. We believe that they have the capability to do it. But when they come to power, then you see that everything changes.
Let me find out from you, what makes you believe them? What is it that is in that promise that makes you believe that indeed it's going to happen?
Do you get it?
When they say like one district, one factory, we won't work. So if a politician comes and say, I'm going to build a factory, you believe that the factory will come on, so you get work to do. So when they are making that promises, we believe that they will come and deliver so that we will get work through.
Okay, so let me get to Becca also. Becca, when you hear promises being made, I mean, talk about one village, one dam. We had that in 2016. We also heard of the one district, one factory, as well as other promises. How does it feel when you hear politicians making these promises?
Okay, I feel happy because I'll be thinking when they come to power, like they're going to transform our lives. But some of the politicians, they just give us that promises without fulfilling it. Yeah.
And so are there any instances, for instance, where you hear that, you know, they've made promises and based on questions you hear in the media, you get to doubt their ability to fulfill the promises?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes you just put our trust and place our trust and hopes on them, but some of them just don't fulfill their promises when they come to power.
All right, so Daniel, you can hear from some of our audience saying that, well, they actually believe the things that the politicians tell them. When they hear these promises, there's always the belief that it is going to lead to a transformation of the economy.
Thank you very much, Winston. And it's very important that we hear this, Evans. It reinforces the need for the tracker as a segment because the electorate takes these promises very seriously, Evans.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the new things we're doing this year. Second thing we're doing that is new this year, we haven't done before, is this very controversial one called the verdict. Very controversial. Kojo is nodding because he's going to be one of the partners in crime in executing a particular show. This is a show, this is an in-house show. This is where journalists, among ourselves, come on a platform and look at all the campaign-related issues. This is not about the promises. This is anything. Like, for example, today we've seen in the papers an internal plot against JM, whatever it is. We will analyze it. We will pronounce a verdict on it in the end, ourselves. And there's going to be a gavel in the studio. And the host of the show will strike that gavel to deliver the verdict, what we think it is. Give me a candidate. We'll scrutinize that candidate inside out and tell you what we believe the candidate's chances are. It's our opinion, but it will be informed opinion. You are allowed to disagree with us, and that is why there's another element in there will be a significant social media polling that will feed into it. After you've heard our verdict, tell us your verdict as well. Let's see whether your verdict agrees with our verdict. It's an exciting show, but it gives you a sense of what I guess we think. We do editors forum all the time. This is a variation of that, but purely from an independent journalistic point of view. We're not bringing the political heads to talk about it. This is ourselves. The freedom we have now to sort of have an opinion on the matters that, of course, are going to be important.
Shaking tables.
And you know, there's a reason why this is important. You see, election headquarters has been doing this for such a long time, and we have built a certain expertise in political reporting, in election coverage. We've called every election in recent history. So we understand this space, and we feel like our audience can benefit from the value of that understanding and that insight. So when we put editors around the table, when we put journalists around the table, they're not just coming to tell you what they think based on you know, some whim or something they pulled out of the air, but it is based on years and years of being on the ground, covering political stories and covering elections, so that it will be informed by insights. It's not going to be just opinions thrown into the ether. It's going to be expert information gathered by journalists who have been doing it for a long time.
Multimedia, this is the best political team anywhere in the world. I mean, Malik, myself, Mama V, Kojo Yankson, yourself,
Winston is in the team now.
I mean, years of experience.
We've got a great team with Adom Asempa as well.
Yes. I mean, when you add that, it becomes.
But you know, we've also been joined. Let's acknowledge the fact that we've been joined by Mr. Ibrahim Tanko with the Star Ghana Foundation, and I want to talk about the ballot box because you've been associated with the ballot box back in 2016. We thank you for that support, but you're back with us. Can you tell us why?
Well, they say that a good thing sells itself. Multimedia has stood out over the years in terms of the quality of its coverage of the elections, but also the provision of opportunities for people who have otherwise been excluded from the dialogue to have a say, to participate actively, you know, in the conversations leading up to the elections. And so we didn't have any reservations at all when the issue came up as to whether we're going to continue with the support.
Also tell us why funding in particular is very important, especially to a media house such as ours.
Well, I would look at the media in general, and starting off first, the Constitution enjoins the media to help uphold and deepen our democracy. Elections are a very critical component of democratic governance, and so we think that the media deserves all the support, you know, it needs to be able to fulfill this role. But looking beyond that and broadly at the context, I think there are a number of issues that even make support the media more imperative at this point. I think one is the whole issue of, with social media and etc., we quickly lose the context of issues. Someone was talking about the free SHS and double track and etc. That the media helps us to put things in context, in perspective, and therefore for informed decision-making by the electorate. We have the rise of fake news. We do know that our political parties have recruited armies of trolls. You know, you go on any social media platform, say something that they don't like, they come at you. So voices are being shut down. But also certain types of information are being propagated that pose a threat to the security of this country. So I think traditional media has a role to play in, you know, helping us to fight fake news, get the evidence out, etc. And I think the third one for me is this whole issue of social inclusion. How do we ensure that the dialogue, the conversation is not just limited to those in Accra, the middle class who have access to contacts and therefore can speak and be heard, but that we use the media to provide opportunities for the vast majority of our citizens.
Okay.
Women, people living in deprived areas of the country, persons living with disability, the opportunity to also be able to articulate their issues, also to engage with those who are seeking our votes and etc. I think that's a
Evans, that's where we carry the boxes,
exactly.
right?
Yes,
Exactly.
that's so. I like that. We carry the boxes. So this year, I mean, for those who don't know Ballot Box, it's a show we started for the first time. We sort of tried testing it out in 2016. What the show is supposed to do is to bring some form of, make it a bit more scientific in the way we sort of sift out the issues that will influence people's vote. So it's not your typical radio, television show where you just go and set up and people talk. The conversation is influenced by what you gather on the ground. So there's a crazy research, there's a lot of research that goes into. So what happens typically with the ballot boxes, we go in there, we spend 1 week, we deploy volunteers. We'll go into the communities and we'll have ballot boxes stationed at various places. And we'll ask you to say, come and tell us what issues will influence your vote. Whilst you write them down and drop them in the box, we have volunteers who will go around and be asking people randomly the same question. And you're taking down meticulous notes, which then gets put in the ballot box. Now we will then, before the show itself, sift it out. And we'll do a cluster of issues. So in other words, open one ballot box and then look at what people are saying. Does it fall under education, roads, infrastructure, economy, water, etc., whatever it is? And then you put to it numbers, right? So out of 500 people you spoke to, how many people said roads will be the #1 thing for them based on where they decide they elect, or they decide who to vote for? Once you do all that, you can get a hierarchy of issues, right? So in this particular constituency where we were, the #1 issue for the people we spoke to is, for them, the economy. It's going to be the theme they're going to vote for, or education. That then feeds into the live event. The live event is where you bring those who are seeking your votes to now come and tell us, out of this top 5 things, what is it that you're going to do? We take them line by line. What is it going to do to address the concern for the people? We are now going to invite the people who voted to come now and ask the questions that they put in the boxes to the MP, to the district chief executive, to the regional minister, whoever it is who wants their vote or is representing the political authority in Accra, to answer those questions directly.
Great.
But because it's scientific, you can't just say we are just thinking and coming up with what the issues are. The people are generating it.
Okay.
And that's what's going to do this year.
All right, so Kojo and Evans, just in a minute, run us through the rest of the programming.
Forgive me, I need to just quickly say where we are going this year. We're going to go, thanks to Star Ghana, we're going to go to 10 regions. We're going to go to Greater Accra. We're going to bring Greater Accra, Ashanti region, Ododo to be very specific, but that is going to be subject to change. In Ashanti, we are going to go to Asawase. In fact, that is next week. So next week, we are in Kumasi, in Asawase with the ballot boxes. We are going to go to Volta region in Hoho, and then we'll combine a few other constituencies. Northern region, Tamale Central, Karaga. Central region, Ebura, Asebu, Kwamankese, Gomwa East. Upper East, Boku Central, Navrongo Central. Upper West, Laura, Wa Central. Northeast, Nalerigu and Gambaga. And Yagabakubore. Savannah, Salaga North and Damongo. Eastern, Sojaman and Akwetia. And the thing about this year again is we are doing 5 for JoyNews, 5 regions for JoyNews, 5 regions for Adom. And so we're going to go move together. It's going to be very exciting.
Great.
Wow. And I love the choice of constituencies there because there are a number of very interesting spots like Asawase, like Damongo, where Abu Jinapo, Deputy Chief of Staff, faces off with Mutawakilu, the leading voice for the NDC, one of the leading voices in energy. So, Kojo, let's go through the rest of the programs.
Right. So this is what else makes up election headquarters for 2020. There will be a 30-minute show called Election Brief, hosted by Araba Kumson. And it'll be at 1:30 every afternoon. And it will be giving everybody a brief on election news so far. A 100-day countdown will be on your screens on the JoyNews channel every time from 100 days to election onwards. Every time you switch on your TV, you know how many days we have left because it will be settling on the corner of your screen. We'll do fact-checking, which is something we do as a matter of course, but there will be election-specific fact-checking throughout the year 2020, in addition to the other fact-checking that we'll be doing. There's a voter's voice, which is a nice little insert you'll be watching on the JoyNews channel, where we'll simply go out and talk to voters, get their views on specific issues, put them together into very quick 1 to 2 minute inserts, and we'll play them throughout the day on our channels. There's a Just Turned 18 show. Some of you remember this from 2016, where we talk to those who are going to be voting for the first time and getting their views on all the big issues. Ballot box, you've already heard about. Battleground is another famous election headquarters show. There will be live shows looking at the dynamics of the battleground constituencies, where the competition is contentious, where it is not very clear who might win, or where there are controversial people running for elected office. And of course, we will be learning more and more about those controversies. The verdict you've heard about. Ghana Connect continues throughout 2020, and there'll be some election-focused content on that. Finally, caucus. Majority and Minority Caucus, which we all know, comes back again in 2020. One more. Constituency Watch. Which takes us into the constituency.
All right. Mr. Tanko, we look forward to doing a lot more with you this year in particular. Thank you for the collaboration.
Thank you.
All right.
Right, thank you, Evans, Kojo. They're, of course, going to be here still. Remember, this is the launch of election headquarters here at the AMA City Hall. We are directly opposite Kimbo Senior High School. Join us if you can, or simply tweet, send a message, use the hashtag ElectionHQ. Tell us the issues which will inform you when you are voting. I have a number of guests here in my audience who will be speaking to us and when the discussion progresses. Very soon, we'll take you to Lekma, we'll take you to Kantamanto, where we'll converge with the Adum team as well and find out what's happening there. Food for Thought comes up next on Joy FM and on the AM show too. There's a lot more coming up.
Why do you want to take us out of the Food for Thought? We want to enjoy Food for Thought with our Uncle Ibo for the first time also on television. But as we go on this break, before we bring you Food for Thought, for those watching on television, our colleague Anas Sabit from the Bono East will bring us views from voters. This has to do with their expectations. What are they looking forward to? What are the issues on their hearts?
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
December 2020, Ghanaians will be going to the polls for the 8th time since 1992 to elect presidential and parliamentary candidates. Ahead of the general elections, this afternoon we are here on the streets of Techiman, here in the Bono East region, to inquire from voters what their expectations are so far as the general elections is concerned, and what are their general views on elections in Ghana. Join us as we speak to some residents here to pick their views on elections in Ghana.
Well, I think elections have been very, very instrumental in bringing Ghana to where we are. What I think is that take away elections and we have to go back to monarchy, where the kings rule, and what they bring us is war. I believe that election has brought us very far, and we should applaud our democratic dispensation for that.
According to Abraham Lincoln, he describes or explains democracy as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So elections entails everybody of the people. When elections are conducted and the people choose the right person to rule, the economy becomes stable, or better still, it improves.
About 1 day, but some or trouble no by you hunuso. Ama is mjete kurano mi hunuso. Yen twandie. Bomba kan by umba do mumbaso muye no munye. By the free and say but trouble but umba mudi hamo. Do mega so munye no munye.
What I've seen is that it has bring positive change in Ghana. Likewise, the free education, NAPCO, and so on and so forth. So I think elections have brought positive changes in Ghana.
When it comes to election in general, I believe that every Ghanaian, so far as the person is healthy, as normal, should take part and then exercise your whatever you have to. Because if you don't do, if the wise refuse to do, then the foolish will be made to do. And when the foolish make a decision, you have no way. You have to also go about it.
On their expectations, some of the people we spoke with want the next government to tackle security, and others are also of the view that government should find ways of ending graduate unemployment in the system.
My expectations are that the sitting government should improve the security. One of the most important things is the security. When the security are being improved, I think no other chaos, the negative chaos is gonna happen.
Bone is, although it's a new region carved, but I'm expecting that more should be done. Okay, so that the people who went in their number to vote for the region to be created will be happy that the region is created. It should not be that it's a what they call it, created for nothing. At least the purpose of creation should be done.
Yes, baby, say yakwanum kuruma yakwanum temuntemu baby msa ene. Nti senka ban bitima boa dia na nka yakwanum temuntemu no emo na bibia nto ye kama. Na de mama ni so ade won se me de mimom de menye ni politics. Efa education man kura no eye pa ebuwa mane no.
What I expect to see from the leaders, I want the government, the next government or the next president should create job for those who have completed the college or the university.
Media may hear him say President ya 2020 bit ma to abayi na obeba no. Oba de obiaye no onto aso. Onto aso because ko hwe kwan bi egugu ye di bridges agugu so aka wura mu a menu ya na ya ro hosem. Ntimidie the expectation is akwan no omoba omomboa
ti say na eso stand was stand your mama business for so say iye bibidi wo bonya ska ko fane ma bate wo ye ntoma wo nya ska no na wo san yere ensa enya business ti say am ye ho kire kakra ba ye say no ba say sa to man de a won stand your mamu ne hu say ye say no ye ko to ba na ye ne je ne ko to ba no.
What I expect is a free and fair election. I expect all our politicians to play it very cool so that they don't send our country in a war path. And what I expect the next leaders to do is they should give us, since myself I'm a youth, they should give us jobs, and then they should help the economy to be strong so that we can feel it in our pocket.
Most of the people we've been speaking with say, though there are negatives about elections in Ghana, the positives far outweighs the negatives. And so they are always for elections in the system. From the streets of Techiman here in the Bono East region, I am Anas Sabit for
welcome back. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM and the AM Show on Joy News on Multi TV. My name is Daniel Daze. For those of you watching on the AM Show, we just came back from the Bono East region where Anna Sabit was talking to voters about the issues that will inform them when they go to the polls on December 7. We also took a stop at Mole, where we told the story of Mole in graphics. That's the Mole National Park. It covers a couple of regions, I should say. We are back, though, to have food for thought with Uncle Ibo-White. But before that, let me tell you that we have some lovely guests here at the forecourt of the AMA City Hall, directly opposite the Kimbo Senior High School, where we are launching election headquarters today. We've already spoken about why election headquarters, the new segments and shows that you should expect year as we count down to December 7. But our friends from civil society will be joining us. So we begin to break down some of the issues we've heard so far as we look forward to that general election. Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante is Head of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana. He will soon be joining us. However, let me thank our friends from Total who are telling you that your car deserves the best treat, introducing the latest addition to the Total Quartz engine oil family, the Quartz 9000 Future 0W20, specially conditioned and developed for the latest generation engine. So if you're driving and you're listening to us or you're watching us and you have a car, remember this delivers excellent engine protection and cleanliness, increases your oil change interval while reducing your fuel consumption. Join the Total Quartz Nation movement now. Total Quartz, keep your engine younger for longer. Big Stories is brought to you by Guarantee Trust Bank, which you rather bank with us. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready, and Latex Foam, your partner for life. Those messages you're sending us on social media are brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African bank. Now, if you're a trader or merchant looking to grow your business, I see some traders in my audience, the EcoBank DigiBanking Pack is designed specially with the growth of your business in mind. Benefits include zero opening balance, no monthly service charges, automatic access to EcoBank's payments and collection solutions, loan of up to 200,000 Ghana cedis, and much more. It also comes with capacity building and financial literacy programs to empower you grow your business. To find out more about how to grow faster and go further with a bank that understands your business, visit the nearest EcoBank branch. There's one just down the street heading towards Tudu near us. So if you want to go to EcoBank, you can stop by here at the AMA City Hall and join our audience, or call toll-free 3225 or contact us on digipackgh at ecobank.com. EcoBank mobile app, CIMG product of the year 2018, EcoBank 2-time CIMG Hall of Fame bank, EcoBank, the first and only national accredited entity to the Green Climate Fund in Ghana, and EcoBank is the Pan-African bank. Uncle Ibo-White is here to bring us food for thought, airing for the first time on the AM show.
That's right, yeah.
It's brought to you by Movement Productions. Be the difference. Uncle.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. I wish I could shake your hand, but we're afraid of
Is the morning good for you?
Oh.
Is the morning good for you?
You know, his mercies are new every morning. So
okay.
In spite of everything that happened last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I woke up to new mercies today.
No, it's always wonderful that when disaster strikes, we all become philosophical.
and
in your case, you become a religious.
It wasn't a good night last night, Uncle.
Oh, no, it's not been good the last few weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah. I'm just hoping
it's comforting to know that we have just 2 matches.
Yes.
2 games. Possibly, the long wait will be over. Then they will have Liverpool will have their version of at long last.
The battle has ended. Uncle, I must say that I really enjoyed Final Warning last weekend.
Okay, yes.
It was such a blessing watching it. I'm not very sure about the Apostle General rapping Sarkodie, but he was he was very dexterous when he came to.
You know, he was with us on the last day.
Okay.
And when I invited him on stage, he was so emotional for a few moments he couldn't speak.
Wow.
And this is a man who was watching the play for the second time, and yet the effect on him was still very, very profound.
It shows how accurate the play was.
That's right, yes.
And remembering the scene. Look, we could talk about the play all morning, but...
Or Liverpool. Or Liverpool for that matter.
But we want to hear food for thought. So
okay.
What's today's message?
Well, you remember that over the last 2 episodes of Food for Thought, I have been bringing you reports of my fictional trip to Asamandu to visit Osajifo and get his mind on Ghana 63 years after he had led us to independence. Well, Osajifo took the initiative to arrange for me to meet some people he thought I would be interested in meeting. On Monday, I brought you my encounter with three of the key people in the coup that overthrew him: Generals Ankra, Kotoka, and Efrifa. I met these generals in an officer's mess of a kind. Now let me pick the story from where we left off on Monday. There was a knock at the door. Kotoka walked to the door to answer. He opened it, and I heard a voice say, "Is he here?" Before Kotoka could answer, Efrifa shouted, "Yes, I'm here. And if you come in, I'll show you that I'll beat you senseless." Ankra laughed and said, "As for you two, when would you grow up?" He saw the puzzled look on my face and decided to explain. He took a sip of his tea and cleared his throat, and then he said, "That is General Kutu Echampon. He's afraid to run into Efrifa." Efrifa said, "And he has every cause to be afraid because I will beat him senseless." "Why will you beat him?" I asked. "He got me shot," Efrifa said. "He got me, the whole Okatachie, shot." I said, "But Okatachie, you've got it wrong. Oh. He did not get you shot. You were shot by the June 4 uprising." Efrifa said, "Did I not warn him that could happen? Ask him. I warned him to take care of that Rollins boy, otherwise he would get us shot. And what did he do? Nothing." He was getting very worked up. He said, "I don't like people who fail to take care of business." I said, "But he was also shot, wasn't he? And by the same people. In fact, on the same day and at the same place. Is that not consolation enough for you?" "No," screamed Efrifa. "He could be shot. He was no Okatachie. I should not be shot. I am Okatachie and would not have been shot but for his incompetence." At the door, Kotoka said to Echampon, "Oh, come in. He cannot do anything to you." Echampon entered but stayed close to Kotoka. Efrifa made for him, but Kotoka blocked his way. Efrifa yelled at him, "Look at you. You allowed your lust for women to make you ineffective in office. Who womanizer like you?" Now then, at the mention of women, both Ankra and Kotoka shouted at Efrifa, "Hey, don't go there. Are you crazy? How can you, a man, use a fellow man's weakness for women against him when you are among men? Which of us was immune? If you want to make a case against him, find anything to use, but not women." I was shocked. I said, "Sirs, I did not know that you two also had women problems." Ankra said, "My boy, listen to me. Every man is a womanizer at heart. Whether he manifests that or not is another matter, but it is there." Kotoka said, "Not every man allows his lust to control him or dominate him, but every man struggles with it and has to keep eternal vigilance in that area. That is why it is not right for a man to judge another man in this area." Ankra said, "And that is why I love the statement that goes, 'There, but for the grace of God, I go.'" For some reason, I felt more at home in the company of these men who were not ashamed to admit that they had their struggles in an area I also struggled with. But there was no time to talk about that. Echampon said, "Okataje, if you want anyone to blame, then go for General Akufo. He let us all down. If he and the others had not done that palace school, there was no way that boy would have had his way." Efrifa was going to answer to that, but Ankra turned to him and said, "Okataje, Echampon just mentioned palace school. You were an expert at palace school, remember? Go with you," Efrifa said, and left the room as Ankra and Kotoka burst into laughter. Echampon joined in the laughter and said, "Everyone has his master." Then he turned to me and said, "Ebo, I came to meet you. I understand that today is a special day in Ghana." I said, "Yes, for us at the multimedia, we are launching Elections 2020. Echampon said, "I have a message for Ghanaians. Tell them that, as Winston Churchill said, democracy is the worst form of government, but a better one has not yet been found. Tell them that nation building is never a done deal. It is always a work in progress." He paused as the steward came to take his order, and then he said, "Remember, Operation Feed Yourself? Tell your leaders that Ghanaians have a lot of potential hidden in them. They should find a way to harness the resourcefulness of the Ghanaian for the development of Ghana. Ghanaians are not made for handouts. Ghanaians thrive when they are mobilized around a great vision. Efrifa returned. He had changed into his tennis gear. He said, "Hey, Kutu, come, let me go and beat you at tennis." A champion said, "I will never play tennis with you unless there is an umpire." Kotoka said, "Let's go, I will umpire." Anka said, "No, let's all go and make it a doubles match." I was convinced they had forgotten about me, so I gave a little cough to draw their attention. General Anka said, "Ebo, you do not have time to join us at the tennis court, but we do not want your trip here to be in vain. So, look on the table. The three of us have written the name of the winner of the 2020 elections. It is in that envelope. Take it with you, but don't open it until December, after the elections." And without saying anything else, they walked out to play tennis. I stood there with the envelope in my hand. Can I keep myself from opening it before the due date? I wondered. But I felt good, even powerful, to know that I had in my hand the winner of elections 2020. Yes, it is powerful. I heard a voice say behind me. I jumped. I had thought that I was the only person left in the mess, but there behind me stood Osajifo. I wondered how and when he came in. He had definitely not come through the door. I would have seen him. His eyes were on the envelope. He said, "You know, every Ghanaian has in his hand the outcome of elections 2020. Let them exercise that duty to Ghana carefully and with deep reflection. Now come, let me go and see you off." And that is my presentation.
So what's in the envelope? You haven't opened it.
You want me to break my promise?
No, you give it to me. I'll keep it for you.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll give it to you, and let's see whether you'll be able to keep from opening it.
Thank you very much, Akle, for bringing us food for thought this morning. You're still live on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM and the AM show on Multi TV. Uncle Bohwise just brought us food for thought. He said democracy is the worst form of leadership, but a better one has not been found.
Not been found yet.
According to Winston Churchill, very thought-provoking.
And nation building is always a work in progress.
Nation building is always a work in progress.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue the work of nation building this morning. Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante, Head of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at the CDD Center for Democratic Development, will be joining us along with other civil society actors as we begin to look forward into what we can expect as the electioneering and campaigning season begins here in Ghana. Remember, we are launching election headquarters here at AMA City Hall in Accra. Join us if you can. We are directly opposite Kimbo Senior High School, behind Tema Station, down the street from Tudu. Tweet with the hashtag ElectionHQ, which is currently trending #1 on Twitter. Remember that and add ElectionHQ whenever you're tweeting. We'll go for a short break. When we come back, our civil society friends will join us and the conversation will continue. Stay with us. This is the AM show and the Super Morning Show, Joy 99.7 FM. At That was kind of awkward.
No, it's okay.
Let's go again, Mama V. Let's go again.
We hardly do the AM show and the Super Morning show together, so that's fine. Take it away, Daniel.
All right. But we are launching election headquarters today at the forecourt of AMA City Hall. Join us if you can. We are just behind Tema Station. And Mama V?
So we've been having some conversations about our programming this year because obviously of the elections. We want to have a brief one with the CDD's Dr. Kojo Asante on the CSO's expectation issues would be. But good morning to you, Doc. Thank you for joining.
Oh, good morning.
Headquarters. All right.
Good morning.
So you've been here for a while. You've been monitoring. Maybe initial comments about our launch today.
Well, good morning. Let me say good morning to our viewers, fellow citizens. I think when we come to election, we really are all citizens, and we want to have the opportunity to select our leaders so that they can improve our lives. So that's what it comes down to. And so I'm really happy to see a cross-section of Ghanaians gathered here to already start thinking about what we want our leaders to be able to do for us, but also to hold them accountable for what they say they have been doing over the years. So this is for us at CDD, when elections come, there's a lot of activities that we engage in. So we are happy to be here, be collaborators and partners.
Great.
And we expect, I've been hearing some very interesting things, particularly about the manifestos.
Okay.
Which I think for me this year, we have to start a different conversation about how we prepare those manifestos. Because they become more of a governing document now for the parties. A lot of the manifesto promises move from the ideas straight to implementation, depending on which party wins. So the way they are prepared have to be dealt with carefully. So I'll give you an example. If you want to have a promise about education, and you tell me that you want to build school buildings, so free SHS, there's an accommodation problem, you want to add all of those things. I also want to hear about what kind of learning outcomes we should expect from that investment. If we build school buildings and the boarding houses and the kids go to the schools and they all fail, then what is the effort? So we have to look more at outcomes than outputs. So they have to be quite specific about what they want to do. So those are some of the things we want to see in the manifestos, and I think some of the programs you put, some of the programs we will be doing, I think will help shape that.
Okay. I hear you say we will be interrogating the issues a lot more, broadening it, maybe wider than we have been, particularly with the manifestos in the past. But you've released a couple of your Afrobarometer survey reports.
That's right.
You've done quite a bit of research as well. What do you think from all those research that you've done will be the key issues to look out for in this particular election?
Well, I think unemployment would continue to be an important issue, and what kinds of plans there are to address unemployment. And, an example of unemployment or how to frame the unemployment problem is that you don't solve unemployment, or you don't tackle unemployment by solving unemployment, right? That you will find out that there are so many components of the economy that you have to get right to make sure that there is an environment to create jobs. How that kind of sophistication is needed. Otherwise, we'll count the number of people who've gone through NAPCO and so on. But if you ask people, everybody will say unemployment is still a problem. So I think it's an issue that we have to worry about. Vigilantism, for me, it's a life issue. It's not even about what we're doing in the future. I'm thinking about how we address vigilantism even before we go and compile a new register. Because we don't want to see incidents of vigilantism by the time we start compiling the new register. So the processes that we set in place, where are we? Are we disbanding these groups? What are the mechanisms? What's the evidence? Those are some of the issues that we want to pursue. But I think that Ghanaians, there are many issues, there are roads, all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
The main thing is that let's have a conversation about our development needs so that as Ghanaians, we can all come to a consensus as to what the problem is, how we can solve it, how much it's going to cost. Because that's the other thing. If we don't address and discipline cost, there might be 100 things that political parties come and promise. But maybe if we have good information, we will be able to say, well, we can't have free SHS and this at the same time because we can't afford it. We should do one. So I think it's not even just a conversation also about political parties. It's about citizens, what they demand of the political parties.
Yeah. Right. I just wanted to slip in. Who do you think drives the election machine more in Ghana? Do you think that it's more citizen-focused or the agenda is set more by the political elite?
Maybe the agenda is probably set by us sitting here, you know, and maybe that's why the ballot box and all of the processes that we are trying to put in place should allow for more citizen participation. For example, it's not everybody that speaks English. It's not everybody that speaks Tree. How do you get all of those citizens to be able to participate in the processes of ideas, of demanding accountability? So having a DON'S platform, engaging with civil society, we need to coordinate more to provide a much bigger platform for that engagement to happen. That is the only way you can make it inclusive.
Definitely important, and that's why we'll be going to Kantamanto in just a few minutes.
Absolutely.
To link up with our colleagues on the Adum platform.
All right. Right now, though, we want to cross over and go to Winston because I see the police has also joined us. We also want to say good morning and thank you, Chairman Blay, for your time. That's the NPP's chairman. Thank you. We'll have a conversation with you. But Winston, can you check with the police how ready they are with this particular election?
Exactly, Mamavi, thank you very much. So we're privileged to be joined by Director of Operations of the Ghana Police Service. That's DCOP Dr. Gariba and the PR of the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Sheila Abeye Bachman. They'll be telling us the preparation of the Ghana Police Service ahead of election 2020. And I'm starting off with you, Dr. Gariba. So in about 9 months, we'll be going to the polls. A lot depends on our safety and a lot depends on the security at the time. What are the preparations put in place? What plans have the police put in place to ensure that we have a peaceful election come December 7?
Thank you very much. Foremost, let me thank the JoyNews for inviting the Ghana Police Service to this forum, and also thanking the police administration for nominating us to be in this forum. Going straight into the point, I can assure you that when we go back to history, the Ghana Police Service, assisted by security agencies, have policed elections in this country. And so far, it has been successful. And therefore, 2020 election is not different. We're going to also police that election with all the might that we have in this country. And I can assure you that going into 2020, the Ghana Police Service and the security agencies have started the planning since 2019. If you recall, the National Election Security Task Force was launched by the Inspector General of Police in August 2019, and that actually helped us to plan and execute 3 major elections. That was referendum 2019, the district level elections, and the unit committee elections, and they were all executed successfully. Therefore, that plan took into context the 2020 election, and I can assure you that we are on the ground. We are doing everything to police 2020 election. I will be robust, and then we'll be ruthless as far as 2020 election is concerned. So we are capable, and we've done it. The history is there for you to say it. Thank you.
But talking about the history, just before we talking about history, now you put this plan in place in 2018, but
2019.
Yes, 2019, and you talked about how you used it for referendum 2018. But in January 2019, 31st January to be precise, we all saw what happened at the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election. Doesn't that tell us, for instance, that that plan which you say you implemented in 2018 failed us in January 2019?
No, it did not fail, because let me tell you, the election that I referenced were the recent December 2019 elections. The Ayawasu issue happened before that, but then I would not like to comment on that because it's an isolated issue. A commission of inquiry has been set up. They've submitted their report. So let's actually disengage that or disassociate that with 2020 elections. But what I can tell you is that no plan is static. As security agencies, we continue to review our plans in the context of the threat. So I can assure you that whatever plans that we've had, we continue to review them, and we are going to appropriately tackle them for the elections. And we are actually in place to tackle the.
What plans do you have to deal with vigilantism ahead of the elections?
The vigilante issue has been tackled. There is actually a legislation that has been enacted by Parliament that is in force. And therefore, the police will execute that legislation, including all other laws and then acts in this country that the police actually executes. So it is within that same framework we are going to give it the needed attention.
Okay, so talking about the police enforcing and making sure they go according to the law, there is always that fear, and there's always been that perception among Ghanaians that when it comes to dealing with vigilantism, the police in many of the instances is handicapped because the political elite get to control these things. What are you going to do differently to ensure that this time around, the political elite doesn't control or doesn't tie the hands of the police in dealing with this?
Let me assure you that in our planning, in our processes, and in our strategy for elections and every security that we do, we are not looking at any political party. The police service is not a political organization. It is a security organization. The same thing applies to all the other security agencies, and we are planning our security for these elections accordingly. We are not looking at any political party as far as election security and the security of the state is concerned. So whatever the case, we are doing our work according to our mandate as enshrined in the Constitution.
And so irrespective of who's behind the violence, you deal with the person?
We don't know any political party. We have no color. We are doing our security job. And anybody who threats or undermines the 2020 elections will be dealt with robustly.
Thank you very much, DCOP Dr. Gariba. So Daniel, you heard from him. He says that it doesn't matter, who you are. Anybody who does anything that would hurt election 2020 will be dealt with by the Ghana Police Service.
Thanks, Winston, and thanks, DCOP Dr. Pabi Gariba. But Winston, I'll come back to you because the key issue that Dr. Kojo Asante raised was unemployment. He said that unemployment is one of the major issues that will inform the vote of electorate this year from the studies that Afrobarometer and other civil society organizations have carried out. So I want to take that question to the audience. Do you agree that unemployment is the key issue that will inform your vote this year? Of course, very soon we'll go to Kantamanto as well to get those views as well. Now, today's agenda on the Super Morning Show is brought to you by Societe Generale SG Ghana. The future is you. But Winston, who do you have with you now?
So Daniel, I have Josephine here with me, who's going to be telling us whether she indeed agrees with Dr. Asante that unemployment would be a major issue in election 2020. Josephine, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you and good morning.
Are you employed?
I'm not employed.
Do you agree that unemployment would be the major issue for you in 2020?
No.
What would be the issue then?
Okay, for the past years, there has been elections over the years, and anytime there's election, I can't actually say more than 70% of people are employed. We have lesser than 70 of people who are employed, and yes, though we have our elections and they are successful. So if you are trying to say it's supposed, it doesn't correlate any way as that's been an effect of the elections, yes.
So what issue is going to influence your vote in election 2020?
Okay, if I'm to vote this year, it's not actually going to be based on employment. It's going to be about the development of the country. How developed the country is will determine my vote.
Just help me understand. When you say how developed the country is, what would you be looking out for?
Okay, in every sector, okay, starting from the educational sector, that is my part. If I'm to vote, I'm supposed to look at how my education, as in the educational sector has developed and is helping the country as a whole. If education is not helping, if it's not, we don't have so much development and it's not helping, and then I can okay, I can say that this and this is why, yeah.
Okay, so Daniel, for her, education is key and is what would actually determine how she gets to vote in election 2020.
I wonder what your choice is. I wonder what your key issue is. Listen to us or watching us. Remember, you can tweet with the hashtag ElectionHQ. Now, it was right after his studies in recycle management that Paul Kofi accepted the challenge of building with plastic waste today. Not only does he help in recycling our environment, he provides jobs for many Ghanaians. Ghana, at APSA, this is Africanacity. It's our inspiration behind who we are and what we do. It's our commitment to helping people find a way to get things done. We love Africanacity. To find out more, visit apsa.com.gh. Before we go to Kantamanto, let me remind you that we are here with Freddie Blay, who is the national chair for the NPP. We are curious to hear what he thinks about the unemployment question and the issues that Josephine raised.
And just real quick, also to say that we have of course, we have Dr. Kujas, and we want to say thank you very much for passing through our lunch this morning.
So from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, that's where we're bringing you the launch of our election headquarters. Of course, building an informed electorate is what we are doing. And then also asking what will inform your decision as you head to the polls in the election 2020. From here in the studio, we'll be crossing over to Kantamanto shortly to join my colleague Gifty Andropia and of course Nanaya Brefo as they interact with the ordinary Ghanaian to find out what their decisions will be.
A solid team and ya kan wabomu ewo leje kuku lekma empanifo ene watwetwe nkomo wati bebre afimu yeguso yese yebema wafa adwen na wode ato aba no eho adwuma na ye nti sabi ya make say nana ya abrefo ene Gifty ando aye krado ewo Kantamanto ye koho akofa na ye koso.
So it is the dawn of another day here in the heart of the capital city. Well, this is where the action is, and there is everything Ghanaian. There are shouting people, there is people struggling to make money, there are people here to spend money. We have the numbers here, the people who will vote, the numbers are here. And we have filth, which is one of the biggest issues that we have to deal with. And of course, there is food as well. This is your election headquarters, and we've walked through Kantamanto, through the Rollins Park, and we're here at Makola, where it is busy. And we're here to talk to people to find out what will influence their vote.
Power said you give to kind me. Has to know to say idea about 1 year December net so. Honorable Nilante, Banda Poi, Obetina or Trotania, I feel about one a bed, J. Ewaha, Naya Piamona, a Cokromoti Power, any election headquarters, any Akabo, any a day brewer together. William said here to me, multimedia, about election, yeah, now it's a quote of yeah, Pamukan and Sababio. And it's a team our air Kantamanto, ye Piamo Rollins Park, near Drew, air Makola. I decided fact I'm not catch our judge phone nada I no boy nay say I be better sim agent ha na ha say a sign said ya opa baby ya di dwa kese pa na Rollins Park Makola and Kantamanto ha bibia opa bia no ubenya bi e wa ti se nipati.
And so this is your election headquarters. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM. We are on the Joy News channel on your multi-TV and of course on your digital TV as well. You can find us at myjoyonline.com. We are live on Asempa. We are live on Adom TV. We're live on Adom FM. And yeah, as Nanaya says, Ajibebia. This is your election headquarters. And we're here speaking about coronavirus, Nanaya. I've seen that there's a lot of awareness. People are very much aware. So when you decided to do this to somebody, they did not hesitate at all.
Debbie. Said no, my penny, when you got a phone in Akatai. what kind of broth for the Abamidi, yes, you and the no tree, a trace. Ya, water, ya pescabidia to her, now to me at Yakunkono. Namia Daru may be my name, Miamia, who do I try, Westia, Okabo, Kina Faso, Togo, Upiemo, Nigeria, BPMO, Nadia, I want to say Yatabakumi, but in Nanita, and Tianamiasi, Yabompa, Mahati, Nemo Matissimo, and ye befile san eba na bato aha and I hope I say war. Aha, Wamukrom, a bit to about Heya, and Tianim said their dynamics in the background. December 2020, Pogromoti power, but a fine amount for Yamsuamo. There's a baby, and Yama, a politician. See, Nadia never has so now went to me at the Atua about a few way. Dear now, a very free SHS, and I say infrastructure, and I say a dear, and I have so dead. So our mission here is simple. Like Nanaya has said, we're here to find out from people what will influence their votes. We're helping you if you're a politician because you hear the views of these people and you put it in your manifesto. Hopefully they'll vote for you. Some of them, there's a fair balance between those who say we're tired. There is apathy, a certain level of apathy. People who say we will not vote because NDC, NPP, that's we voted over the years, they've not really done much for us. There are those who say I will vote because I'm feeling the impact of the free SHS. And there are those who say, look, there is no money in my pocket. That's what I'm going to look at if I have to vote. But we're here to talk to the people so you can hear from them yourself. And as you see, I crown Wamunya, another force beyond Kesson. Papa Quesin, Nagomo, and Monso, the idea. As I dear Guntier, and me and Noir. And see a baby, I say, and then be a mammy, Wabedi, and other Wabeti. But what the Wabeti? Obita, the say, Anna Hatia, ya, I have quite seen your meeting come on. Ubeti, Efrasia, now yet why you made the so.
Let's talk to this gentleman. I've been speaking to him earlier on. He's got very interesting views. I'll find out from him. Let me take a seat and talk to him. Do tell us your name.
My name is
9 months. We're going to vote in December. What will influence your vote?
Okay, media. Mama batuna metono. Me hwe aban no. Njisha odi gu akwan so no. Na ma hwe se abam ana se ebetimi aboa me na ma hwe so de batuma ba.
So essentially, he says, I'm looking at what the government has done, and I'm looking at how helpful those things, those interventions that the government has put in place will be to me. That's how I'm going to vote. Enti, what specifically are you looking at in terms of the things that you think the government has done that will influence your votes?
This year, I ba kwa dem akoma so pa free education or the buy no. Manage ho pa, but you won neman kitinkiti bi ho a esese wo yi firi ho na chese emutimi da ho na wie peye
ebi ne die
ebi ne omo ko no si na me mpa ebo ne se nkaba na nyire no ho na omo ye ho adwuma ne ntimi nya ne ntentem se de be ye ombe yi sai na firi ho
ombe yi de ye firi ho
ombe yi omo gold ne diamond no ombe yi firi no makọ so mo ko no once o ma na so
galamse asem na woken
no school no free education na me can say you gold.
The double track system.
No, sir. And me say, come you feel na mutimi. Na light me boy.
So Mr. Dria is touching on a very sensitive matter, a matter that has been of keen political conversation. He's talking about the double track system. He says he's excited about the free SHS program. He thinks that it has helped a lot of people, his compatriots who work here in this market. But for him, the double track system is a key bottleneck that ought to be removed. He said that he wants government to put in place the infrastructure to build the facilities that will make sure that the double track system is a thing of the past. So finally, what are your expectations 2020 of the political parties?
This year, no, the me penny say, Bompire say Electoral Commission. Obetimi ama bibia ye finchim and after adwuma na de ahye ne sa mama ni ntietie nkofo ano say ye new voters na be boan a omomodin say wode ne na be so ne be ye na abo because say bibi ba the end of the day no ono ne be blame no ndi ono de ahye ne sa no ya hoto be ba no ene na wonhwe na waden onye na hoto mra.
again, he touches on another key issue as far as this election is concerned. He's talking about the voters register. Now, he's indicating that the Electoral Commission should go ahead and and compile the new voters register if they think that is what it takes for us to have a free, fair, credible elections. He says if that is what is required, they should not listen to anybody. Now, you would think that, you would think that the people who work in the market sometimes don't follow the issues. That's where you get it wrong. They do. And here we have the numbers. I've been talking to someone who's spoken. He's spoken not just about the free SHS, he's also spoken about the voters register. I'm going to hand over this gentleman to Nanaya so we can hear his views as well. Nanaya.
The only company that I can get is MEM, which is free zone company. So I went there to buy the cashews. Even with the same price they are exporting it. I was told I wouldn't be given. So I asked why. They said they want to export it. So when they export it, we go back to import it, which eventually affects our cedi and the dollar rate. So I asked myself, the thing is in my land. Which I should be. I mean, I said, which no. So it affects a lot. So now I'll go elsewhere to go and get a cashew. I go to Aricos, which is more cheaper compared to what I was supposed to get from MEM. Even though I was considering to buy it with the same price as they are exporting it, which has been exported. But I was said no.
How this can I come Ivory Coast for? Aye. And today someone can okwa sampa in important medase. One more how no me yes one so no me so no me dia to aba ade cashew no nsensem no ya na ha adwene ha mu ye papa. Enti eba ne say na bato no decision no kwa ne say dia na wo hwe so no watumi ade ato aba ne ha cashew gifty obeso abrantie mu no so one ne din komo.
Jamal, you're welcome. You're on Joy News, you're on Joy FM, you're on Asempa, you're on Adum TV, you are on Adum FM. Don't be intimidated. All we're doing is for you to be armed with the information, that you require before you go to the elections in 2020. Are you here to spend money?
Oh no.
Okay, what are you doing here?
I work here.
You work here. What do you do?
We sell styles, perfumes, and then.
Certainly, these are some of the things to expect. This is the hustle and bustle. This is Ghana. All right. So tell us, what do you do?
We sell perfumes and then cosmetics here.
I believe you're going to vote in 2020. I mean, in December.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to vote.
What will influence that decision?
Okay, I would consider the manifestos first.
Okay.
Because looking at what our presidents have done, from Jerry John Rawlings and coming to our current president, His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, they've done a lot, but then looking at their projects, we need more. And when we look at the manifesto, we would understand what we need to do before voting.
A lot of people have said that Ghanaians don't look at manifesto. They say that we vote. Sometimes people vote on autopilot. So they say if you like MPP, you vote. If you like NDC, you vote. What exactly in the manifesto are you expecting to hear to make that decision?
We want policies that is going to help our businesses, our education, and everything. This current government have brought many policies about education, and we can observe and see what is going on.
It's your election headquarters here on the Joy News channel, also on Joy FM. We are also on all the multimedia platforms, also live on social media. We are live at Cantonmanto now for the election headquarters launch. Of course, we'll go back to the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. But earlier, you heard my colleagues Gifty and Rapien and Naya Brefo from Cantonmanto. Feed is back now. We'll go back and then we'll come back later on what will inform your decision in terms of election 2020.
Anything, so until the manifesto comes out.
Nanaya, over to you. Thank you, Jamal.
Na match bosume no na sembre kakra wo yenim ti se be ya obetimi aka se meto ama we ti se the gift card na bi mo autopilot wone ne de no wo ba ye no ti se de ne wo ya asante ne ye wo sa asante kotoko e force wa ye twan furuma eti upe umpo na se wuginem wo ya nkra ne so ne ha se force bete na so mu de etre ne adade a na ye gina ye nante se ya ne se ebisa nyanyam bia December abato no wo betu bi ye France
ba cho frame Joshua Afun
abato no wo betu bi.
Oh, Sammy, yes, citizen, me a Ghanaian, dear Sammy Tuaba.
Yes, Miss Adia, now her so now, dear Tuaba.
Oh, yeah, says Adia, Usubesha will be a bravo the Betuaba, the Anabatona interview. But also, Omudada, Omudada, president now. Omundi Omubesha was on Bay and Omu to me, Jemay. And just an
example, and this buy no assembly now or Kaya or Hequans or Bay went to Biano. And then the MPP to Swan, then or Kaya or Hequans and Swaya doesn't.
Oh, John Mama, need Professor Messi Bayano, almost on Bebuama, Ghana economy, Aquanim. Though Professor Messi, ya 1 year, and Odumakuma will be found coy. And I'm Mama Sutiasu. Honestly, you share 1 or 2 things are why you were or mine, Wabo my Ghana. Though you are Paku for the Swaba. On the Subayano, or share Bobby, or see 1 district, 1 down, 1 district, 1 factory, 1 district, 1 down, 1 village, 1 down. Nini now, Kayano, Yehu.
Dambia, Nasa Dam and Yankran was why
me get a cry.
One Yadam one cry.
And I be okay, here in the own ye. And soon, almost on my your fan is a Ghana scano, do almost any and 2 to confirm my view.
Said I will come as some Nasa about Mahamu.
Oh, that be me too, me about Mahama MPP, Omuna Ghana for. Near yes, Rani say, you're 2 Abama Uganda near. We are Ghana to 2 Abama. You're 2 Mawa, for scan your money and near first wipe. Who this scan your money here? Yes, you're Benyan first war. But for scan your money, now this cano grown Yamabia and Sam Fata. Now, sir, you to know high.
We are very vital. You can give to him what he's trying to say is patriotic. Ya to a berry no Ghana flag and say muscle. And yeah, and this MPP asem. And I remember say boss me yes in Tiade no nipa no pekra force. Na a boss enti. Na e bekumi e kura na yusu.
So he's essentially saying that it's not about NPP, it's not about NDC. If we vote for you, use the resources of the land to create wealth for us. And he mentions that for us, the youth. Now, one of the key problems here, Nanaya, that we found since we came is filth. The people have been complaining about filth, and there is a stockpile of it right in front of me. Some of them here had indicated to speak to us, so we're here to talk to them to find out how will filth, how will sanitation shape their voting decision. Talk to us. What's your name?
Your friend is Sarah.
Sarah. So Sarah sells wigs. Okay, so we put this, we do a lot of this, put it on our hair, and Nanaya is wearing one. I'm not wearing that one. And she sells all these things. Sarah, how much do you make from this business?
The business is not going on like the way we expected it. Everything is low. The market is doing the much we are expecting it. We did not get it through the taxes and the things. And our government too did not support us well, because here we used to pay AMA tickets and baller. And you can see here, there is enough of baller over there.
So you're saying that, you're not selling as you should. But every time we come to the markets, that's what market people say. Some people say, you only say that when we bring you the microphone. Is it true?
No. First, when the market is going on, it depends the tax they put in our things.
The taxes that you pay.
If I went and bought something 5 cedis, I'll manage to sell it 6 cedis. But when I go, they sold it to me 15 cedis, and I'm selling it 16 cedis. People find it difficult to buy.
Then because of the tax, every day you come, the increase of the tax make our goods go high. And when we give it to the people who are coming to buy, they thought we are the one cheating them. But it's the case of the tax. So if it cost 5 cedis yesterday, and today the cost of bringing it here increases, then it becomes 15 cedis. You can't sell it at 15 cedis because people won't buy it. And even if they are buying it, they think you are stealing from them. But what can government possibly do about such a situation? Because always he promised us to reduce the taxes. We all know that when the reduces of taxes came down, all our prices is down. So everybody will come and buy it from us. But when the prices is high, no one will come and buy. So we are pleading on the government something about the tax. But that is the thing. The government was put there by you. People like you and me who went to queue to vote for them. The power is for us. And that's why we have come to you. I'm asking you, in 2020, we have that power again to decide who will be president of this country. How will you vote? Oh, what I will say is, as Ghanaians, right now we are fed up. Because they will come today, they will say, I'll give you hay. But tomorrow it's not that. What they would promise us to offer us, they did not. But now, I don't know, this 2020, I'll just queue the line and go and vote. You mean you will not vote? No, because I've had enough. Party here will come. I'll do this, I'll do. If it has market women, we are the ones supporting the economists. But nothing is decided to do for us. We are now sitting on the sun to struggle so that the government will come, tax us, AMA tickets, AMA baller, AMA lances, and nothing good is doing to us. So right now I'm fed up. Sarah says she's fed up. And when you look, there she is wiping the tears off, the sweat, I should say, off her face. This is what she goes through every day. This is Sarah's reality. And she says that she's fed up. She probably won't vote at all. But Sarah, you have to vote, because if you don't vote, it is your civic responsibility. So you have to make... Offer us good. They should offer good leadership, because right now we are like monkey, they work, babu, the job. What we will hand here small, we just give it to them for the AMA tickets, AMA license, and the few we have, we get home, you pay electricity. Now everything is high. So they should do something about it for us. And I like to believe that Mary's sentiment represents the sentiment of a lot of the women who work here. In fact, most of the people here are women doing business to feed their families. I'm going to hand over to you, Nanaya, but this is indeed a very touching story for me that Sarah has shared with us.
Apart from the fact that yes, business, and as she's saying, no, would there be a shop in the keke? First week, I'll be, they will start coming in internal revenue for budget, AMA for say on the districts, maybe a one. The part that worries Sarah is that, for example, when the AMA people come and take taxes that is sanitation related, and she looks just over there, and there's a pile of rubbish there. It worries her. Now ubedru titrune motorway, motorway, one of the toll booth no omudisika ubo porto mu say gwan ori anu ade wan Ghana na baby sasa stand senti wa ade we ma osi aka wo mama etu onu so de how no relevant say to me. So these are some of the things and crofo be ready ato aba wono no fu say wa bre enso wodi na wiem ne hu team fifre me so me hu team fifre wodi na wie so fiti anapa akosi anado kakra obedi ene wa be de ko wie so amfa nya hwe ma no etu ohunu say ne how no ma me mama wakwa ba ye frost
your friend Mama Jane
wie mo nkra ne mente ba be wie mo
be man Jane e ho ni ye bi ene ni no ni makwa no ni ka to aba dwele ni BP what fed up your government name ya ka why because one che license ye bi ene license che mo first say what pay your ticket 50 pesos bia na e 1 cedi 50 pesos e me 1 cedi ni trash ventures we ba me 50 pesos concerning ndo ya make baller ni what pay le kan shika na fe ni wona no ni ya no most of the time say baller ba jolly oshi de gba wona ke wo ba me ni ba ya le kan aba after shika konkro na ka lo baller kaka baller lo le kete se later ka ba araba che wole ka ticket na hela kan shika e wo wonu shishi Ejaka won pay niji license license. Recently, Chame announced Akaba income tax. Ghanaian women, we are suffering. One boy market women, one boy.
ɛbɔ 1 cedi 50 pesos entu ɔhwɛ sɛ dia entumu ne kwa no a na wɔn hwɛ bra wɔn brɛ ha wɔn sɛ no ade no wɔn hu so papa ɔhaw but me feel sɛ nke bia nei they are the people wɔn kɔ dwa so wɔn kɔ kwan so kɔfa nneɛma ba accident yahodo a eti wɔ kwan so Ghana for ma sɛ ɔka sɛ Ghana for ma ɛbrɛ akwan so jojo no asɛ ɛya bɛ bibi ɔmenim sɛ if it's going to be one of the things she's going to look out for as a deciding factor so the kɔtɔ aba.
So let's ask her what you have mentioned all these problems.
Abusia kokromoti power na mu ene ye wo no tumi ye wo kokromoti e de to aba no so wate ne ekoso e wo makola ne mpotemu a adwadifo ma ne mema na e kira ma wahu se o gina bibi so na de ato aba no eti ne political parties ahoro no me gidi se mutie nipa no wo se wo nko gina ho nko sanlai enko to aba keke uwia no abehye ne botro kan adwuma esese wo ye wonye obi e kire ne obegina so ato aba abusia ye wo makola Kantamanto ye wo ho ene ba bia ene election headquarters kokromoti power ni ewo mu multimedia adwumako no ni ye pese wuhu ni obegina so ato aba no eno ena minu aba na ya abrefo ene gifty ando apia wonu nyina tiagum ya chese ni ewo mu ye de amount do dia ne say afimpinu ni aduo no 2020 elections no eno a ne ahya ase a ye ko ne frisa bi ko de abusua ya kagya na gum break bia nim ye koye nim ene Joy FM wom JoyNews wom Adom FM Adom TV Asempa FM ene ye stations akafile stations ene wo hwebom ni nyina no ene wo kontimi ni minu aba emefa e wo ha sei emefa.
Of course, we're live on Joy 99.7 FM, also live on the Joy News channel, like my colleague said, also on all multimedia platforms, also in Kumasi. We are on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. And as the launch of the election headquarters, what we are doing is building an informed electorate ahead of the election 2020. And what we are asking is what will inform your decision? What will inform your choice of voting in the election 2020? And my colleagues are on the ground. We're also live from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, the heart of the city, and that's where we've put together the team, Daniel Darcy, and of course Mama Vio Uswa-Boaje, leading the team of the best political side in this country. Is your election headquarters right here on multimedia and the Joy News channel and the Joy 99.7 FM. We're also live on our social media platforms. You can get interactive as well. Don't be a passive listener, be an active one and join the discussion. Send your messages. We'll stand by and take your messages as well on what will inform your choice in election 2020 is the election headquarters here. And of course, I'll go back to the team once we move from Kantamanto with Gifty and Apia. You've heard them. The issues about sanitation has come up. Free SHS has come up. The double track system, they've talked about it. These are the issues that will inform their choice in election 2020. What's yours? Don't be quiet. Join us with it. Building an informed electorate ahead of the election 2020. ABY.
Abusia samna na emefade atudwa no wote ne ema ne mema ni bi kan ye ewo ho no mo obi se double track no ka ye ye free one ka free senior high school ne ye oman hene kwabna sante ene obi ena Captain Smart wonu abo Captain's band no ene wo chese yenko lekma na de yenko hwe ne yekoso ewo hobi.
We'll head back now to the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. I know that the chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, is on standby. You also heard earlier Pumpuni Asante, Dr. Pumpuni Asante of the CDD, also interacting with my colleague Mama Vio Uswa-Boaje. If all is clear, we go to the heart of the business city to continue the launch of your election headquarters. Daniel Darcy, Mama Vio Uswa-Boaje, Kojo Yankson, of course, Evans Mensah, and Winston Amwa are on standby. All is clear now. We go to the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Don't forget to join the discussion on what will inform your choice in election 2020. Let's build an informed electorate.
And we're also facing the stretch of road that takes you to Tudu. We want to say thank you, Daniel Datsi, to Bank of Africa.
A very special thank you.
Yeah, of course, because they've provided us with breakfast. They visited us and gave us some breakfast this morning. So we want to say thank you and a big thank you to the CEO, Mr. Kobe, and of course, strong as a group, close as a partner. They're keeping that theme with us. So thank you for breakfast this morning. Well, let me introduce to you Dr. Kwesi Jonah, his Senior Research Fellow, IDEG. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. We also have the NPP's National Chairman, Mr. Freddie Blay. Thank you for being here as well. Great. I want to start with you as National Chair of the NPP. What are your expectations in this year?
This year, definitely we're going to have elections, a very major event in life of Ghana. Besides that, improvement in economy, in spite of coronavirus in the air, may be a major challenge. It will not detract from the program of the MPP government under Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. 4 more years. From this year.
Okay, it's good you went to 4 more years. So what will be the issues that you think will dominate this particular election?
Economy, as I said. Improvement in the economy, creation of jobs, planting for food, and job creation, reducing interest rates, the GDP increasing, the banking sector moving up, creating wealth in this country, making sure the market women are happy, farmers are happy, hope goes up, good governance, reducing all corruption in this country.
You mentioned the market women. We just came back from Kantomanto, Daniel, and the women are not particularly happy.
Well, they are not particularly happy as you are. That's what I'm saying. We want to make them happy. We've been in power for barely 3 years, 2 months. We want to do more and create the condition for them to do their trading, create the condition for farmers to bring in more produce, cheaper rates, consumers to have quality of what they are producing at a cheaper rate for this country, people in this country to feel happy. Think that's our main purpose. We are doing it. We are in the process improving all these things. So this year will not be too different from what we've been used to the past 3 years.
Okay.
That will be, but we want to do more.
Daniel?
That's all.
Find that cost of doing business, taxes and levies which are exacted from these women is foremost on their mind. What do you make of that particular side of the economy and how it informs the vote? The tolls that we pay at the market, the cost of things like fuel, how does that inform the votes going into the election?
People take their experiences in their daily lives as the basis for voting. But these women are talking about something that they encounter at the market every day. There are other wider issues. Are their children getting education? Are their children getting jobs? So if you go to market to ask them, definitely these are the issues that they will complain about. The kind of experiences they go through every day in the marketplace and so on and so forth. But they will also look at wider issues. Are they just for our children? Is education going very well with our children? And so on and so forth. So, yes, I agree with them. I myself, if I was in the market, I'll be complaining.
Do you think that those who formulate policy give enough time to that section of, the general political landscape?
I would say that they are concerned, but they generally tend to look at the macro. Is the macro going right? And they think that if the macro is in the right direction, then it will trickle down to the, which is not always the case. And that is why you see substantial improvement in the macro environment, and yet people on the ground are complaining. It is about time that the politicians, apart from setting the macro indicators right, also look at the micro. How are people feeling on the ground? So it is very, very important.
Now, Chairman, we find that this question that Dr. Jonah raised comes repeatedly. We have great macroeconomic indicators. The beginning of the year, the cedi was one of the best performing currencies in the world. But the question comes that for the women who are sitting here, for the women we spoke to, and the men and women we spoke to at Kantamanto, they say the effect is not felt where they are.
I hold a different view completely from what you're saying. Once we do agree that the macro is great, that the government policies regarding, just as I told you, inflation, cedi, stability, and so forth, the macro being handled very well. Definitely it will trickle down. It's trickling down. If you don't handle the macro, it will be very difficult to handle the micro. And that's exactly what the government has devoted and focused on ensuring that there is macro stability of the economy. And definitely the trickling down effect, so a trickling down effect is going on. It won't happen within a twinkle of an eye, but surely the cedi is stable. Market women, when they go and buy other things, products from outside and bring it to this country, they wouldn't like to go for super normal profit. They will sell to the ordinary people. The prices can be handled. So this is part of the macro. I agree that definitely everybody wants things to change all of a sudden, but it can't happen that way. Once we've been able to handle the macroeconomics of this country, which you all agree that is being handled, then of course, gradually we're working on the macro. Taxes are going down. We talked about tax. I was not hearing exactly what the market women saying, but this government, when it came to power, has removed a lot of taxes that were coming almost a burden to the ordinary people, and we were still working on them. Of course, government depends on taxes to move the economy, but we will not overburden the people in this, and that's what Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his economic team to do.
MPP Chairman Freddie Blay here. We are at the forecourt of the AMA City Hall, where we are launching election headquarters here. My name is Daniel Dazi here at Mama V also Abuaje, live on Joy 99.7 FM Super Morning Show and the AM show on Multi TV. Join us here if you can. Now, it's an interesting picture, Dr. Jonah, that Mr. Blay is painting for us. Yes, we need the macro foundation. Work is being done in the micro. In fact, the finance minister mentioned during the last budget that 12.2 billion Ghana cedis has been put in the pockets of Ghanaians. Pockets should be much fatter. The market tells a different story. Where lies that disconnect in your view?
Yeah. When the macro level improves, what is needed to improve things for the ordinary people on the ground? It's not just time. You need concrete policy measures to ensure that the benefits that accrue at the macro level really it will not happen by itself over time.
Okay.
You need concrete measures to ensure that the benefits of the macro improvement will trickle down to the people. But we just cannot sit back and say that, oh, with time, things will change. We need very, very specific measures. Listen to what the people are complaining about, and then introduce the kind of measures that will address them.
So it's about being responsive, being responsive to the concerns of the people.
Specifically.
Do you think that governments in and out are responsive enough? Because in the media, we say that the politician responds the most to votes and to elections. Beyond that, it becomes difficult to engage government and get that significant change. What do you make of that phenomenon?
Yeah, well, as I said, we need very specific measures to be able to address those problems on the ground. Unfortunately, regime after regime fail to. You know the results. The more we fail to listen to the people on the ground, the more you see what is called voter apathy. If I keep complaining on the ground and nobody listens to my cry, over time, the votes will go down. You might have noticed that last election, we recorded probably the lowest turnout in 3 elections, 68. Ghana normally records 70 in the 70s, and we have recorded 79 points, almost 80% before. Last election, it came down to 68. This year, both empirical evidence and anecdotal accounts indicate that a lot of people say, Mintuaba, I am not going to vote. What does it mean? It means voter apathy is growing. This is the way people respond
when they feel they are not being governed well.
They are not being listened to.
Okay, let me take those thoughts to Chairman Blay. So the Afrobarometer survey last found that voter apathy is at its highest. We now have the highest percentage of Ghanaians who do not even want to vote in the first place. It's often referred to as a verdict of how much politicians listen, as Dr. Jonah mentioned here. Your party is in power now. Are you listening to Ghanaians?
Well, I have not read what his Afrobarometer has just told you, but I do believe that the MPP government and Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is listening to Ghanaians. One, you mentioned that specific policies that should reflect in the pocket of the ordinary people whom you refer to as complaint of. I say, for example, free education is not in the air. Free education, so far as I'm concerned, and I believe a lot of people do agree with me, that had put money in people's pocket. Maybe they will not directly see that, but indirectly, if you are not paying fees, it means you save money in your pocket. If a policy of NHIS is being effectively controlled and managed to the extent that when you are sick, you go to the hospital and you don't need to pay except your little contribution. And I think it's a guarantee that the social intervention of being taken care of in the hospital, it's effective. It reduces the burden of you paying for your hospital fees and so forth. And I did say that if inflation is down, it means you go to the market, you won't have to spend too much money on whatever you want to buy to take care of your family. Then, of course, some people may not see it that way. Voter apathy, we've not yet talked about voter apathy because we are still 9 months away from elections. I'm convinced that a lot of Ghanaians would be interested in casting their vote either way.
A lot of people say that they're not interested in voting. We had quite a number of them when we crossed over.
I'm saying that I think we are talking about the same thing. I'm saying 9 months from now, that's what we are going to do the voting. Somebody might say today that I might not vote.
But they might change their
at the
mind.
time of
okay,
voting.
great. We want to take this conversation to our audience, and also we're asking that you send us messages on Twitter, on social media. Just use the hashtag ElectionHQ. So Winston has got messages and some interactions. We want to say thank you to you, Mr. Blay.
Somebody may even say that I don't want to register. May even say that they won't do new registration. At the end of the day, they will rush to go and do the registration. Listen.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for your time. Dr. Kwesi Jonah, we will see you a lot more in this year's election.
Thank you.
So thank you for passing through our launch.
Thank you.
Over to you, Winston.
All right, so thank you very much, Mamavi, and listening to the chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, talk about the fact that lots of things will be influencing people. He believes that free SHS, he believes that planting for food and jobs, and also the economy. He says that, well, interest rates are going down. So let's find out what people have been talking about as to what would be influencing their decision to vote. And we'll start off with some comments on Facebook. Now, Brad Divine Divine says, I don't have the desire to vote again. I was made to believe that voting was my constitutional right. I've grown up to realize that it's a scam. How could you vote? How could you go and vote to create jobs for somebody's parents and go and sit down at home and become jobless or unemployed? Iyao Odebenefo says, I am okay with free SHS. Now, that is the most selfless policy. Empress GM talks about, what she'll be voting for and says the economy, corruption, and the sensitivity of the government. Richmond Boatin says nothing because of how the government is treating teachers and more to the point of corruption cases. And if you get to some other messages, now Musa Sukarazu says, a lot would make me vote, and that would be, the kind of jobs we have as in NAPCO, and I'll be voting for free SHS. Ejabata says, I'll vote for an honest and visionary leader and not a family and friends government. Well, Seydou Kimball seems to be talking about, issues to do with the environment as well as corruption. So says, well, Galamsey, corruption, lack of infrastructure would influence my decision to vote. And King Potofi says, corruption fight, especially Galamsey, would determine whether or not I vote. But Royalson David says, I don't even know where to start. Thousands of corruption scandals, every sector, health, education, road, energy, etc. Well, so finally, Kojoko Dia Clement says the banking sector reforms has been successful, and so that would certainly influence his decision to vote. But let's get on to Twitter as well and find out from many of the tweets why people would be voting. So Henry tweets and says, good roads, schools, and hospitals would certainly determine whether or not I would be voting. And Teddy tweets and says, nothing. Okay, and Amoa says, if I have a job. Okay, so let's get to some of our friends who've joined us here and find out from them what would influence their decision to vote come election 2020. I have Nite Kotego, who is a development planner with the Gamashi area. He's joined us this morning and will be telling us what would actually influence his decision to vote. Niteko, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, and good morning too.
So tell us, what would influence your decision to vote? What are the key determinants that would get you to vote this year?
I've always voted because I see it as a civic responsibility and a patriotic duty. Because once I am in this country and pay taxes, and my tax issues in the electoral I deem it a responsibility to vote. So definitely I'll vote. What will however influence my voting is the peace that we are enjoying in this country. If you look all around us, there are a lot of problems outside, and people are not really living the life they want. But if you come to Ghana, we have peace, despite the politics that we do. Moreover, if you look at the economic situation that we have, not too long ago, we have inflation running at a strata. Today, I read in the graphic that inflation is almost 7.8%, and that also contributes to economic growth. Once we have a stable economic policy, and mobilization of the people to make sure that we achieve some of these objectives set by the government, I believe Ghana will have to vote and make sure that we have peace in our country and enjoy the peace for development. That is what definitely will influence.
So for you, the macroeconomic indicators will determine how you will vote?
Sure, definitely. Rome was not built in a day. At my age, I know what Ghana has gone through over the years, what stagnant developments have impeded our progress. And now that we have democracy as a basis for our development, we need to unite and develop our country, irrespective of our political party affiliations. At the end of the day, if we go to a toilet and the place is smelling bad, it doesn't look at which party you belong to before the smell comes to you. And if you want to make it clean, it means all of us must unite and then clean the place for us to enjoy a very good environment. So the development of Ghana, irrespective of the political parties, will depend on we the people, our commitment to do what is right, be disciplined in our country, because I believe there's no country which has developed without discipline. Okay. The indiscipline in our country is too much, and we're complaining and blaming others. What about we, those who are being disciplined? The market women were complaining about refuse in the market. Who are those who create the refuse? At the end of the day, this refuse must be managed. Okay. But you can't manage it without money. And they ask to pay little tolls so we can manage it, and then they complain. So how are we going to get funds to develop our country?
All right. Thank you very much, Niteko, who believes that the economy, particularly the macroeconomic indicators, will determine how he's going to vote. Let's get to one of our other friends, and he'll be telling us his name and what will be influencing how he will vote.
My name is Charles David.
So what would influence how you would vote? You just heard from Niteko, he believes that the economy, particularly the macroeconomic indicators, will determine the way he will vote or how he will vote. Is it the same with you?
Actually, let me tell you, I'm not going to vote.
Why wouldn't you vote?
Because it's my interest. I know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm not going to vote.
So tell us why you wouldn't vote. What is it that you're talking about that I do not know?
Because what did I say? The economic is not going well. Our currency is low. Even, let me remember you, Kufuor came from 2000 to 2006. They changed our currency to some. That currency that they changed, now I was thinking that currency that changed, they have banned it. But we have used the old currency and the new one that Kufuor come introduce. We chop it together. Even Nana came, we see they change 50 Ghana, they change 20 cities, they change 10 cities. Those 10 cities, 20 cities, 50 cities, they change. They have to ban it. But we are eating it together. So how does it mean that the volume is the system is the same? It's not the same. We are talking about our currencies. There were currencies that build us in the Ghana here. We cannot do anything with that currency.
But as for the currency, of course, every government would always come up with new currencies, and not as in, would print new notes, not new currencies, would print new notes, and it was important to come up with new denominations that have also been printed. How does that amount to chopping our money?
But the old one that you printed, the new one, if we not bring it to the system, if we're not using it in our system, we should use the new one that you have produced.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. He's just been telling us some of the reasons why he wouldn't be voting come December 2020. Chairman Bliss says hopefully some of those who think they wouldn't vote in 9 months' time could change their mind. Let me get over to you, Daniel, so you join your panelists who probably might be reacting to some of these comments from our friends who are gathered here with us.
Right. Then thank you very much. We're still here at the AMA City Hall's courtyard. Now, we are just across the street from Kimbo Senior High School, down the streets from Tudu, behind Itema Station. We are in the Central Business District of Accra. We've been joined by Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, who is Information Minister, and also Lawyer Kakra is someone who is Communications Director for the NDC. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah. I read the president's tweet yesterday. You have now been named among a list of global young icons. How does that feel in just a few minutes?
Thank you. Good morning to Kakra, who I suspect is supposed to be my uncle. P.S. he may have abandoned me. And good morning to your audience here. I think very quickly, it is humbling to note that what you're doing in your little corner is recognized on the global stage. And I think it's also challenging that some new targets literally are being put ahead of you. I consider it an honor for the young people of Ghana to be invited to a platform like that. I see it as not being about me, but about the millions of young people in Ghana having a seat at the global table to contribute to the global agenda.
Congratulations once again, Mama V.
Yes, I also want to say good morning, and we want to come and take a quick reaction from what we heard. But good morning to the landlord who allowed us to be here, the mayor of Accra. Thank you so much. This is beautiful. When we gave the drone shots, which we do, you realize that there are some parts of the city, I was surprised, absolutely clean. I see that there are many parts here that are really, really clean. So thank you.
It's interesting you call him the landlord, because yesterday Accra Great Olympics said they are the landlords of Accra. And they lost to Accra House of Oak, so it didn't work there.
His hats. All right, so let's get Kojo, let's get a reaction. There are some people who are simply unhappy about their conditions, and they've said they won't vote.
Yeah. And then there are those who also say that they see improvement in macroeconomic conditions and they think that that will influence their view. I think that you always have a kaleidoscope of people who vote based on various parameters. But in the end, the common thread is how people connect themselves to the story of Ghana. If you say Ghana is getting better, how do I connect myself to this Ghana that is getting better? If Ghana is generally getting better and I'm getting worse, I may not necessarily look at the big Ghana getting better story and go with you. But even if you say Ghana is getting worse and the individual who you are speaking to can say that he or she is getting better off, or at least not getting worse off, that also leads into a different parameter. So in the end, the common thread is how people connect themselves to the bigger story. Our job as politicians or ministers of state or government persons will be to lead an agenda that seeks to improve people's quality of lives at the end of the day. So that when you, in the end, ask them, how do you find yourself in this Ghana at the end of a 4-year cycle and therefore translate that into a vote, you can most likely get a positive answer that I see that I am not worse off comparatively today, or I see my fortunes tagging along an upward trend here in Ghana. So my initial comment will be that it's an interesting kaleidoscope. It reflects what you usually hear when you speak to various persons. And as we get into some more details, we can be specific.
And Lawyer Kakre, would you agree with the assessments given by the minister that this is simply a representation of what you would find generally? There are varying views, and we should take them as they come.
Mr. Daniel, that's good morning.
Good morning.
I would have liked to congratulate my brother, Kojo Nkrumah, but I hesitate to do so. And I'll tell you why. 20 years ago, as a member of the NPP, I congratulated Professor Mills and I was dismissed. So my brother Opon Nkrumah should not expect me to congratulate him because it will not be in my interest or probably even in his own interest. But having said that, let me comment. Let me comment. I'm just telling you that the NPP is intolerant. Now let me comment on what the masses that you have brought over here said. We are dealing with what the people here are saying. We are not dealing with what others think. And what they are saying is very, very short and simple. It is the message that the NPP used to win the 2000 elections. They don't see any hope anywhere. And for me as a person, I consider it as extremely disappointing because I was with Nana Akufo-Addo in the trenches, fighting for political parties, fighting for people to have differences, tolerate each other. And if you don't like Daniel Dazi, you go for Mamavi. If you don't like Mamavi, you go for Daniel Dazi. Now people are saying that they won't vote at all. What does that tell you? Akufo-Addo has been such a terrible failure that he has been a marker for the failure even of our political system. I am talking to the ordinary Ghanaians whom I see right now. Akufo-Addo is another person. So is John Mahama. They are not the same. Do you understand what I'm saying? They are not the same and they will never be the same. Both of them have capacities and abilities. We have seen what Akufo-Addo can do. We know what John Mahama can do. You have to make that decision. I have made my choice. My choice is John Mahama, 2020. That is all for the meantime.
It's an interesting point you raise, but in the year 2016, did the people of Ghana not know what John Mahama could do? And did they not make that decision on his abilities when they gave him 44.4%?
Before we came on air, I was having a chat with you. Nobody in this world buys food for the person who is dead. Am I right? We only deal with today. Is that not so? Yes, yesterday is gone. Some people are even saying, and I'm not saying the people here, some people are even saying in my language, we know what has happened. 2016 is gone. We are in 2020. Now we know what Akufo-Addo can do. He has been such a terrible disappointment and failure. I do not think that Ghanaians should honor him with another 4 years. He does not deserve it.
Because we are, the theme is building an informed electorate, and we are discussing the issues that will inform the votes.
Yes.
So if you can name for me in 3 quick points the areas that you think people should consider in 3 quick points.
Economy. employment, and the general well-being of individual Ghanaians. That is all.
Economy, employment, and general well-being. I'll take those thoughts to the audience. We remember those three. The economy, whether or not we have jobs, and general. Now bring it to you in the audience very quickly, Mama.
I just wanted to make the point. When people say they're tired, they won't vote. I'm just thinking that they're coming from a certain place.
Where are they coming from?
It's not simply because they've realized that, well, things haven't really changed much under this current government. But isn't it because it's something that has compiled? But I'll let you react. I just wanted, because of the question that you put him, Kojo, what are the key issues that
well,
you think?
I'll come to the key issues. Let me first make a comment, react to Kakra's submissions, and then I'll come to your substantive question. You know, anytime you hear somebody make a submission, what you need to do is to interrogate that submission and see whether it is a submission that the majority of us here can agree with. So far, I've heard one gentleman say that he will not vote. And I heard the follow-up question, why will he not vote? He says when Kufuor printed currency, it was chopped by everybody. But they have printed some new currency, and I'm not sure if I got him clearly, that he's not, I think, getting some to chop or something. I'm not sure that's a basis that you can make an argument to say that, therefore, it shows that Akufo-Addo has been a bad president or something. I'm coming.
So, but before you came, we went to Kantamanto, and we got quite a number
I'm
of
saying
views.
I have heard one. I have heard one. This is the basis on which this person articulated. Now, if you use that as a basis to therefore say it means Akufo-Addo has been a terrible president, I'm not sure it's grounded on any substantial matter. Here are the specifics. I agree with Kakra when he says that John Mahama and President Akufo-Addo are not the same. That's absolutely true. There are some of them that when you give resources to, they invest those resources into improving the quality of lives of people. And there are some of them that when you give resources to, they take time to appropriate those resources to themselves. And I'll give you a few clear examples. These are not secrets or hidden matters. Take something like oil that President Kufuor discovered for Ghana in the 2007-2008 era, and the oil revenues that we have today. You have a leader like President Akufo-Addo who says, I'm going to use these oil resources to put Ghanaian children through senior high school for free. We have mothers here. Many of them I know have, sons and daughters, grandchildren perhaps. They know what it costs to put a child through senior high school. If you have a leader who says that he's going to put Ghanaian children, and currently about 1.2 million of them, through senior high school, you ask yourself, what did the former leader with that same oil resource do for our mothers and our young brothers and sisters? Take, for example, an economy that was booming on resources at the time he assumed the reins of power, which by the time he was leaving power, in his own words, had ground to a halt, had been chewed down to a bone, such that he had now to go for an international bailout, for which he said he could not recruit people into the public services. So they were not heavily recruiting for police, military, nurses, etc., cancelled allowances, etc. You have another president today who says that, one, I will meet those targets and get Ghana out of the IMF, and two, I will begin the recruitment process. And today, he's recruiting. Has he finished recruiting everybody? No, we have never said that. But he's gradually recruiting people. I dare say they are not the same. So compare that to another leader who in his tenure, when Ghana, for example, discovers a resource like bauxite, says, or during his tenure, what you discover is that at the end of the period, that bauxite ends up being appropriated to a close associate of his. These are matters that as we go into the election period, as we compare these two personalities, we are going to go heavily and go deeply. So the two are not the same. If you say the economy...
We've got to take a break. So just real quick on the top three issues for you.
I agree. The economy is one major matter. And as was mentioned earlier, if in President Mahama's time, the rate at which goods and services were increasing in terms of price was 15.3% at the time he was leaving. And today in President Akufo-Addo's time, it has come down to 7.8%. Here's what it means. It doesn't mean the prices of goods and services are not going up. But what it means is that the rate at which it is going up has dropped from 15% to 7%. The two are not the same. I agree with him. But it shows that one is a better manager of the economy than the other. I think the economy is one. I think that apart from the economy itself as a main issue, you're going to have an issue such as
public goods and services like education and health, all put in one basket as another matter that people are going to look at. And then another matter that is also going to determine what people specifically decide when it comes to the ballot is the subject of jobs.
Okay.
Look at the general job environment. Are more people getting jobs today or not?
We've got to take a quick break. We'll come back with more.
When we come back, we'll allow our audience to engage the politicians on stage. So we give the mic to you. You get the chance to engage really these people on stage. Stay with us. This is the AM show on Joy News and Multi TV. It's also the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. Our guest, Kojo Ponkroma, Information Minister, Lawyer Kakra Isiamwa, who is Communications Director for the NDC. My name is Daniel Dazi, here with Mama V, Osu Abwaje. We'll be back.
For those watching television, we'll bring you expectations from the Upper West and OT regions.
Residents Joy News has interacted with say elections over the years have been largely peaceful and successful. Achievements and delivery on promises by politicians, some have pegged between 50 and 55% over the years. This is Anthony, a statistician.
Election in Ghana in general since 1992 have been peaceful. Actually, we have set the standard for other countries to come and learn from us. That doesn't mean that our elections have not been without tensions, but through the role of the media and other key stakeholders like the Peace Council, at the end of every general election, at least parties involved in the election accept the result. Where they have doubt, they go to the court for declaration. And it is my belief that this 2022, all the parties will play it fairly.
Here is Basit, a fashion specialist.
Because when the person wants an individual's vote, then he begins to say things that the person wants to hear, that he himself knows that he cannot do. Those are some of the things that I think the media should work on. At least let us shape the way our politicians come to us and then promise us as to things that they will do in Parliament for us.
And Joseph, a former MP for the Akan constituency, he says some people see politicians as liars owing to failed promises.
We've done a little bit better. As a developing country, we've taken the path of democracy to develop our country. And it's a process that takes time to materialize. So for about 30 years in the process, I think we've done well. The past elections has its challenges, but as a country, we've been able to surmount the challenges. Expectations of electorates are very high. Do I say just the past elections? Because we actually spoke on a very high promises or told them about high things that we could do. But as I speak to you now, you can see that apathy is setting in, because if you ask few Ghanaians or most of people, they tell you politicians are people who deceive. And it's like asking them even going out to vote has become a problem.
So is it true that politicians have been deceiving people over the years?
Some of the politicians, I will not say all, some of the politicians.
But how about election headquarters coverage of elections over the years? This is what they have to say.
I'll tell you, multimedia is a heavyweight in this industry.
I would say you've lived up to expectation. No human being is perfect, no institution is perfect, but you'll be reporting as to the information you gather. And in that respect, I would say you are doing your best.
I like the way they do their reports on elections. I'll urge them to continue with the hard work. We are listening to them. We are observing. And anytime they want to veer from what we want to get from them, we'll let them know.
Peter Senu for JoyNews.
On December 7, 2020, Ghanaian electorates will be going to the polls to elect the country's president and members of parliament for the various constituencies in the country. And the political temperature in the country is beginning to heat up with the leadership of the various political parties, especially the governing New Patriotic Party (NPP) and opposition National Democratic Congress (NDC) crisscrossing the country.
All I can hope for is that the work that we're doing in your constituency, in your district, in your region, is going to mean that 7th December 2020, the elephant is still going to be in charge of Wa East constituency and hopefully the majority of the upper region.
During elections, people come around and say the sweetest of things in order to convince us to vote for them, but they have no intention of keeping those promises. And so when you come and you promise one something, one factory, one village, one dam, one village, when you don't even know what a dam is, you don't know the difference between a dugout, a dam, an irrigation dam, you don't know. And so you just promise because you know you won't fulfill it.
The Upper West region has 11 constituencies, with the opposition NDC holding on to 6 of the parliamentary seats, while the NPP has 5. With the election coming up in December, there are lots of expectations from the people. Haji Muniro Tuisa, popularly known as Auntie Muni, is one of the first few people to own a store on the JJ Rawlings High Street and engage in business for over 2 decades. She wants the polls to be peaceful and, for that matter, expect politicians to be decorous in their campaigns.
We are expecting peaceful elections for 2020, and we expect the politicians as politicians to tell us the truth about whatever they say on air, and they should avoid insulting, trying to demean one another when they are on air, and citing people against one another.
So you, as a woman, your fear is about insecurity, and also you want peaceful elections. Why?
If there's no peace, some of us, where are we going to run to? So we need peace within and during and after elections.
A view shared by the Upper West director of Atomic Motors, Alaji Moskala. He said for business to thrive, there should be peace and tranquility.
And we are praying for this election to be very peacefully, because when you look...
Welcome back. This is the launch of the election headquarters here at the AMA City Hall in the Central Business District of Accra. My name is Daniel Dazi. We are here on stage with Kojo Ponkroma, Information Minister. Lawyer Kakra is someone who is Communications Director of the NDC. And we also have Messina Afroa Nijan, President of the Greater Accra Markets Association. Mama V.
Yes, thanks to our friends from the Bank of Africa for passing through and giving us some breakfast. Indeed, you're close as a partner. We're also live on Joy Prime Television. So live on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM, on the JoyNews channel, and also on Joy Prime.
Let me say a big thank you to our friends from Glyco Travel Insurance Policy. Glyco, we cushion you for life. And Afrodan, your back must last you a lifetime. They make sure we get all your text messages. Bedrock is proud to be associated with the Joy FM, Joy News, Arrive Alive Road Safety Tips on the Super Morning Show. Bedrock wants you to arrive alive and do business with them because they believe that the purpose of business is to create value for customers. Experience the Bedrock 3 before 3, where claims up to 3,000 Ghana cedis reported before 3 p.m. paid the same day. Bedrock Insurance, protecting the things you truly value. Another partner for our Arrive Alive campaign is Toyota Ghana Company Limited, which is offering you a special package on every Toyota Yaris you buy from them. If you buy a 1.3L or 1.5L from Toyota Ghana, you get either a mega discount on price, free fuel, or 1 year free service with manufacturer's warranty of 3 years or 100,000 kilometers whichever comes first. Visit any of our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takwa, or Takrade to enjoy this deal, or call 0302-910-204. Now, Melcom has opened its 44th store located at Frafraha Foster Home Junction. Our fully air-conditioned store will be open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Sundays. The Melcom store has over 25,000 products ranging from supermarkets, fresh food, and so much more. Visit our new branch today. Enjoy an amazing shopping experience. Terms and conditions apply. Melcom, where Ghana shops. So, Mama V, before we go to our guests here, because I'm very sure Madam Nafroa Nijan, who is with the Greater Accra Markets Association, would love to engage our political party reps here. But let's take a quick stop in Kumasi, where there are some voters standing by, ready to tell us what will inform their votes in December 2020.
I do sometimes watch Adom TV, and I think I like whatever they do. I'm pleased with it, and more especially, they are not criticizing on any party. So I'm okay with Adom TV, yeah.
What about you, sir?
I'm also okay with your coverage. There are other stations I've been watching, and I think they are not being fair. But with Adom TV, your coverage is actually fair. You are fair to all the political parties.
What about the Joy brand and the other brands of multimedia?
Exactly. They are also fair. Their coverage are very, very fair.
Now, you've monitored our election coverage over the years. We bring to you reports from across every corner of the country. What impresses you with our coverage?
Well, as already said, I don't often watch Joy TV, but I think generally your reportage is very good. I'm sure a lot of Ghanaians also have interest in watching your programs. So I think it's excellent. I would say it's excellent. Yeah. I only have concerns regarding.
Give us your concerns. Give us your concerns, especially the ones that apply directly to the multimedia Joy brand.
Yeah. You know, just recently, the GJ president came out to, alert journalists on how they report issues, and this is very crucial for this year, being an election year. So I think that as much as possible, you should be very transparent in results you receive, and also continue to build a confidence in the people. Because for instance, any wrong value that comes and is later changed can bring panic in the people that, why is it changed? So I think that the most important thing is to report whatever you get and not hasten to conclude on issues, especially for the panel. If there's a panel, they should be careful whatever they say, that, oh, this person is leading, is likely, and all that. They have to relax, come up with everything for the only person, the EC, to declare the winner, but not to preempt who wins. That is what can bring chaos in the nation. So
you agree, and you think there are areas we can improve as well?
Well, I agree with my colleague. I agree on whatever he just said. And I think the only thing that I would like to bring it out is like the panel. Let us have a fair panel. At times, some of them are political inclined. That's the only thing that I want to put in it.
And you were talking earlier on. You were talking to me about bias as well. Is that an area you want us to improve as well?
Well, at times, some of your I don't know how to put it, your colleagues, I think some of them belongs to Party B or Party A. So, in attempt to say something, you can easily see that that person is towing the line of this particular party, which of course I don't think it will help.
That's an area you want us to improve on. Yes. Right. What about you, sir?
Yeah, I think they've taken the words out of my mind. All that I want to say, they've just mentioned them.
But our election coverage so far, you've monitored across the country.
Yeah, you are doing a fantastic job, I think, and I'm hoping that you keep it up for the nation. You're doing a good job for the nation. And
which areas of our election coverage do you really appreciate?
In terms of giving us the results, I think you are doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
And going into 2020, areas you want us to improve?
Areas I want you to improve. You have to give us the true picture on the ground, and don't be biased. Okay. Don't be biased. That's all.
You think we've been biased over the years, or we've done well?
No, you have not been biased. I pray that going forward, you keep it up. Yeah.
What about you? Areas you want us to improve going into 2020?
For what I've watched, you've never given us false results. So keep the fire burning.
Thank you very much. Anything you want to add?
Not really, but I will say that, as she rightly said, keep the fire burning and keep the pace as well, because I presume you are pace setters. Okay, so make things very transparent and genuine, so that people will not, at the end of the election say, oh, Joy FM, Joy TV, I will never watch again because they are being biased, they are this. So I think we are giving you a tap at the back that continue with what you are doing. Yeah.
Any negatives you want to share with us?
I cannot be specific for Joy TV because I'm not a regular, watcher or listener, but or viewer. But I think that, as you've already said, you need to always be cautious of your reportage. Okay, it could be that if you are not alerted, you can bring people on the panel who would bring chaos on the, the whole session that, oh, this person has to win and all that. So you need to always know how you select the panel members. You have to make them aware that they have to be neutral as possible, even if you are belonging to a particular party. You need to be very frank to yourself and not try to raise tension. Yeah, so if possible, you can even bring people who you think are neutral, not necessarily from any party. They can share very good views than somebody saying something and the other countering and all those things. So I think that should be your main focus on the election.
In terms of our coverage itself, from across the country, linking up with correspondents, bringing the information to you up to the minute, what would you say about that?
.7 FM and on the AM show on JoyNews on Multi TV. You just heard comments from our viewers and listeners in Kumasi telling us what they expect of us as we launch election headquarters today. Now, you can rest assured that we will distinguish ourselves as we normally do. We'll make sure that we hold ourselves to the highest of standards in journalism as we report all the happenings associated with the election 2020. My name is Daniel Dazi. I'm here with Mamagbi Osu Abuje, and we'll thank our friends who help us bring you this coverage. SolarTech, your market leader, your tried and trusted brand. For protection of your valuable equipment is putting money in your pocket. Be part of our special SolarTech sales promotion by buying our unique Maxima UPS, Ultima UPS, whopping discounts up to 40% while stocks last. Protect your equipment, make some savings, use only genuine Solartech products from our authorized dealers nationwide, and save money. Call us on 0302-761-450 or 0302-775-106. Solartech, the power to protect. Now, classes begin for all SHS1 students. The gold track on vacation, and those going for 2020 WASI private on off-deck exams at Presec Legon, Staff College, opposite ACDEM Hospital near ARS Roundabout, Accra Training College Road. It starts on the 16th of March 2020, Monday, to the 24th of April 2020. Organizers are staff and teachers of Presec Legon. Very moderate fees. You can contact 0244-688-239 or 0243-216-860 or 024-995-3936. We are here with Kojo Nkrumah, Information Minister, Kakri Samoa, Communications Director of the NDC, and Madame Messina Froanijan, President of the Greater Accra Markets Association. Mama V, very interesting conversations we've had so far.
Exactly, and we want to bring the conversation down to the President of the Greater Accra Market Association. So tell us what the key issues would be for you going into this election.
Thank you very much. I think I'm the president of Greater Accra Market Association, so we are traders. And as traders, we have an option. And all that we want is come to the market, do our businesses, get something, take it home to look after our children. Market women are financiers, they are everything. But the problem with us is, if I come to the market, I display my things, they buy my things, then, oh, today the economy is very good because they have bought my goods. Tomorrow, when I come, I display my goods, nobody is coming to buy. Today, the economy is bad because we weigh the economy with the business we do. So when business is good, we feel the economy is good. When business is bad, we feel the economy is bad. But what I want to say is, whatever the economy is, whether good or bad, that doesn't make you not to vote. Voting is your right. You can just go there and exhibit what you think, but not to vote is not an option.
Okay. So great. I see you're talking about the voter apathy, and that's a very good thing. That's a very good appeal that you're making.
So what I will advise market women, don't say I won't vote.
Is it because you've heard a lot more of them say that they won't vote because they're not happy?
Yes, I saw some on the stream that the market women are saying they are fed up, they are tired, so many taxes, they are not going to vote. That is not an option. Presently, as we are now, we should look at what the business we are doing in the market and see whether the business is good or bad. If you come to the market and they don't buy, naturally, you cannot say the economy is good. You say the economy is bad. If you come and they buy tomorrow, you get a lot of money, the economy is good. That is how we weigh the economy.
Okay, so for you, it's the economy.
It's the economy.
And it's your buying and selling.
Yes.
Yes, and secondly...
Mama V, I just have a quick one. Before you move to your second point, would you say the economy is good or bad? Generally, I mean, over the period, let's say in the past few years, would you say it's good or bad?
Presently, market is not good. So if you go and they don't buy, you can't say the economy is good. That's what
why do you think it is that way?
The market is not good. There are a lot of things that come together to make it. One, a lot of people bringing in goods. Two, a lot of people selling. Three, people don't have money to buy. Four, maybe the goods are too many, they can't buy. So there are a lot of things that determines why people are not buying. And my second point is, we are pleading, market women are pleading with the authorities. We are vulnerable. We are women. We do our businesses. Please, we want peace to prevail so that we can travel
bring the goods in for people to buy. We want peace before, during, and after the election. Right. Because without peace, we don't have business. Right. And anybody, when there is trouble, the first place they run to is to the markets to loot goods that they can keep for their use. So we are pleading with all the authorities. Right. Please, we want peace for the election. Always we talk of peace, forgetting freedom. We talk of peace, forgetting justice. They said everyone is crying out for peace, but no one is crying out for justice. Please, let justice prevail and the peace will naturally come.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And that's, is deserving of an applause. Honorable Mercy Nafroa Nijan is the president of the Greater Accra Markets Association. My colleague Ijala is standing by with the mayor of Accra, Mohammed Nieje Soa. Very important issues have been raised. Madam Nafroa referred to the challenges being faced by market women, which may influence their decision to vote or not to vote. I wonder what the mayor has to say about that. Israel.
Yeah, clearly the mayor would have something to say about it. And incidentally, we just have the markets right behind us. So in the backdrop, if you can see, that's the market that she's talking about. And so I'm coming to you. Thank you very much, first of all, for hosting us at this beautiful edifice that you have here. What do you have to say about what the president of the Market Women Association is saying about the challenges they are encountering?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you once again for hosting me as well. I think that the Greater Accra Market Women Association leader had simplified the economics to the ordinary person.
That's true.
And I love the Mokola economics as she posited to the hearing of all of us. It is true, if you look at the analysis carefully, in the Central Business District, it appears that everybody is trooping to the Central Business District to do business. So even with the satellite markets outside the Central Business District in the peri-urban areas are not active, and everybody wants to come there. So those who are trading within the Central Business District are overwhelmed and inundated by numbers of people that come. And that's why you could see that the market has gotten even to the pedestrian walkway and sometimes to the street. So you have too many people also selling in one place, and they are selling the same thing. So either it wasn't like that. I'm a product of Mokola. My grandmom and my mom all sold at Mokola. So I grew up at Mokola. And you always know that, I come to Mokola quite often to talk to them and then engage them. So what we are also doing currently is that a lot of the sheds in the Mokola market are very weak, and because of its state, some of them had even moved out from it. So we are reconstructing some of the sheds there. We've just completed a shed at Mokola that is taking over 180 stalls. And then we'll want to move to another location as well, because for a Mokola woman to move away from his market or to prevent him from selling for 2 days or 1 day is quite difficult. I mean, you will not allow that because it's a daily activity. So you have to have a plan of moving people from one end to the other to create space for you to reconstruct part of the market. So I share concerns, and these are the interventions that we are also putting in place over a period of time to arrest the situation.
But how does that resolve the problem of too many sellers, which you raised? And as a result of which, the many sellers that you have are unable to do some good business.
Well, exactly the point I'm trying to say. And it appears that Mokola is also not just a retail market. It's a bulk market. So prices are much cheaper at Mokola. Instead of going to like Tuesday market, going to Nungwa market and all the markets in the periphery of the Central Business District. So people always have to find their way to come to Mokola to do business one way or the other. And that is the challenge we are being confronted with. And I think the way out also is to expand the market to be able to accommodate the increasing numbers. The strategy of high-handedness and using force to clear people, it has not resolved the problem.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was just thinking about it during the days of Honorable E.T. Mensah, that it was very tough, and you know, he couldn't be able to take away all the traders from the streets and then a pedestrian walkway. So for me, the way out is what I have seen.
Okay. Now, let's also look at the election itself. You have a critical role to play as the host metropolis. Accra hosts the presidency, the Electoral Commission, Election Commission headquarters, and all these other places. Take us through or walk us through your role ahead of the December elections.
Well, by law, reference to the Adnan 36, every assembly is supposed to have a security committee. In Accra, we have a Metropolitan Security Committee, and the composition of the security committee makes the chief executive as a chairperson with all the security agencies, the military, the police, the national security, the BNI, and all of them. And you meet regularly to take stock of the security situation within your jurisdiction. And we do that continuously and regularly to identify the security issues within your jurisdiction and address it. And that is also done at the regional level. We are stepping up this time around, knowing very well that we are edging on to the campaign and election period. Hence, the dynamics of the security will change. And our meetings are intended to address some of these issues. Because we don't directly handle the electoral process, which is the prerogative of the Electoral Commission. Once in a while, you also invite the Electoral Commission to come and brief us, because they will also have to work with the Security Committee in terms of deployment of troops and everywhere. Our major concern now, which of course we are working towards, is that this is Accra and everybody comes to Accra. So it is not only those who register in Accra that you are mindful of taking care of, but everybody comes to Accra. So the security situation is stepped up to be able.
It's compounded essentially.
No, we need to step up to be able to deal with the higher level issues also in Accra. And I'm grateful that the regional police command is also here, and they also compliment us all the time when it comes to security matters in Accra.
All right, thank you very much, Mohamed Nia Jesua, who's the Accra mayor. I'm heading back to you now, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Israel, and thank you to Mohamed Jesua. Before I come back to my guests on stage, let's take one question from the audience. Winston is standing by with an audience member now. Winston?
Right, so thank you very much, Daniel Daz, and very soon we'll be hearing from our audience what they make of election 2020, what issues will be influencing their decisions, as well as also hearing from them the questions that they have for our panelists. That's the Minister of Information, who is seated up there together with Kakre Samoa, who is Communications Director of the ND. So let me just get to our first person. Good morning, thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
So you have a chance of asking a question. What would that question be to the Minister of Information and the panelists up there?
And please, can I switch you? Can I switch you?
You can speak.
Okay. Ebase Mebusa, Minister of Information, question for about to the medical busani say if I would show Yembambo, because say to abanasa bambo ni moa, in young conform ya basa. Sani Yembambo air call my etie.
Thank you very much. We'll make it very brief. You come, you tell us your name and straight to your question.
Okay, my name is Erickson Asari Kwachi. And my question to the Minister of Information is about the corruption rate we have in Ghana, not to Accra to be precise, because when you travel overseas, Ghana, apart from Africans being described as the black monkeys, we are being described as the corruption people. We have corruption is overwhelmed, and we can't. It's a surprise when you, for instance, when you go to purchase for goods to Accra, the kind of money you will spend through the custom excise and preventive services, through the police, it's uncalled for. So my question is, what are they doing about it? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll pick the final person. What's the question you have?
Yeah, my name is David Tabre. Let me speak to the local language.
me pese me to aso de me nua no kaya no about to ne de be hu se enuma ya call this year no corruption na me nua no kaya no unhu hwe a corruption na about this no ye show mu say fabra ba wo mu use kwan bi a tuturu wo mu de aban ana party din na wo mu de enoma bi na me amehwe a me pacho say kabeya mpanifo minister of local government and then the president almost say a din ya enkrofo yusu edi gi no ma bia ebe say bibi wo omo eche no ya wo mani wo ho ana.
Well, so thank you very much. And so we'll cross over to the panelists for the Minister of Information and the others to address those questions. But just before we do, we'll pick the final person. Pacho Bebo Dini Wasembisa.
Okay. Me Pacho, you're from Mariama Ali. Me a trader or Mokola inside. Me Pacho, me pesa me bisa minister say, election na ye baba yeno. Register new voters way na ye pesa ye yeno. Sisia I want to acquire bebre. We see yenye, we see meme yenye. Enti sisia no ada na yenjai, na yen yusu old one na ye wono, na ye chohuma so up to today. Sisia ye hu se ye kwa register o, se ye yusu old one o, ye nyim de ye kwa yusu. Enti ye pese ye hu se ye yusu old one na abana nkancha non tre yen bibia. Ebetume jina so se resource na ba, ye betume nya asampa akacha ganafo, amantawantawo bia entumemba medamase.
Thank you very much. So she just wants to find out whether we are using the old or whether we're using a new voters register. She says, based on all the controversies, why don't we just use the old register so that there could be peace in this country? And the first person also asked a question about peace and security ahead of election 2020. Over to you, Daniel Darcy.
Thank you very much, Winston Amwa. Thanks to our audience members for all your questions. A number of them were directed at the Information Minister, so I'll go to him. Please make the comments brief. If you can keep it in a minute for us so we can wrap up the conversation.
I'll do my best, but
corruption,
please give me
security,
some
and the voter
latitude.
register.
First, I commend the president of the Market Women's Association. Her economics lecture, I think we have to extend it to Legon and other places so that they can break it down for everybody to understand. In her commentary about how they read the market, I took interest in one point that she makes, that it appears that at one level, people don't have money to buy. At another level, two quick answers. Earlier, I mentioned that this gathering is a kaleidoscope of people. So they said they are also finding money to pick goods to come to the market and try and sell in the market. Inti whilst aye kase se ekaye nko awodwam a eyema no obi so ni sika kakra ne saka no or the bedwam ba beton ade a ono so ohwe bi wo ho. Inti in the same breath, the economy looks different to different people. And I think the point is to find a middle line. Senia, Oma starting yes, can so epe kwanaton, man. Say other markets ni bi no mbekwa, ye mo munko. Now one so ebi jawa hanenyo modie. The other side is in Kofo Niska Okroma, omde tonema. Na eye no kre emri bi ababe senko, but me se na me hunu no emu peja adentia. Almost 20 billion Ghana cedis. And a caution of financial services sector. To savings and loans and all of those places.
If I may, I know you want to address the audience.
I will quickly deal with it.
But keep it in English for us.
I will do my best. But because of how the questions came, it's important to try and be bilingual. Almost 20 billion cedis got literally burnt in the financial services sector. And I say they will be the ones to attest, say, who could use savings and loans? Police Today, the government is paying back all of those monies gradually. What does it mean? People will begin to get money gradually, and gradually these people will come to the market and buy some more. That is why we are happy to see this improvement. Now, quickly on these questions. Security. So you always see the president making vehicles available to the police, ensuring that they get the necessary accoutrement and training so that they are well-resourced to provide security for us. We are committed to ensure that the way previous elections have been safe and secure, it goes the same way in the year 2020. The last question, before I come to corruption, voters register. Many bizarre questions say, as in Tawantawa or voters register, no, the other thing I use data no. Obisu beka se ntawantawa nti ade nti na yenye foforo preko. But here's the point. Enya me na meka se yenye register foforo na se ema yenye. Me de metumi atre madwen. Saa na wo so ma me wo so nya wo na wo be kire se yenye register foforo or not. You can also express your view. But in the end, the Electoral Commission of the Republic of Ghana is the one that decides. And if they say we shouldn't do a new register, even those of us who support a new register, we must follow their instructions. In the same way, if they're of the view that we should do a new register, those who say they don't want it, we must all go. I don't see any big deal with it. If we all make up our mind that we're not going to fight, we're not going to be egregious about it, in the end, what they say, we all follow. And if somebody believes that there's a legal basis for which they shouldn't do it, that is why we have the courts. We go to the courts and litigate our matter. Inti ntokwa bi ene ho. Ye nyina ya kire ya dwen, ba ba bi adwene de. Ye ma Electoral Commission decide ne hu ba bi edi yi ebeto. Last matter corruption. Ampa corruption di yenya. Onya sika kakra ko fa ne ma fi Togo aba obedu ha ne ye Jew say. Ukoye passport, we Jew say. Ukoye license, we Jew say. Ekwana be ne be fa so ne asolve. One of the instruments we have brought in is digitization. The Office of the Vice President has been leading digitization a lot. Inti ne upe passport a Goro boys na nom digital say you o mafi o ko internet so wa ko fele on sa kan passport. And no ne ma ye if you say driving license na opa ye digitize. Say even ECG bills near the ekran ye digitize say o to phone so abetumi ato light e wo phone so. Now to light wo phone so wan abeju ademudi anasika. So corruption is an issue. But through digitization and other methods, we are doing our best to fight it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Let me touch on the voters register real quick.
I did. Yeah, he did. Let's acknowledge Fred Tete, who is Deputy Director at the Research Department of the Electoral Commission. Mr. Tete, thank you very much for joining us. Lawyer Kakre Samuel is also here. He's Communications Director for the NDC. A lot of interesting comments have gone through. Your thoughts so far?
I just want to react to just two matters, the banking crisis and then what our mother said when she was talking. If you were all listening, she made a very important point, and that is that whether the economy is good or is bad, what we want is what? What we want is what? Peace. What we all want is peace. I want you to take this message from here to wherever you are. What we all want is what? Peace. Now let me tell you one small story. Since 1992, every time that we have elections, we have an election security committee. It is always headed by either the interior minister or his deputy. Since 1992. Now, last year, January, we all saw what happened at Ayawaso. They set up a commission of inquiry, and that commission of inquiry identified a minister of state of national security, Bernard Champon, as being responsible for what happened. Now, recently, President Akufo-Addo did a reshuffle and transferred Bernard Champon to the Minister of what? Interior. He is going there to repeat the same thing in the general election. Do we want peace or not? Do we want peace or not? That is number one. Number two, the banking crisis. I was just telling my brother here, but I'll come to my mother here. Supposing I'm the son of this woman over here, and I get coronavirus, do you think she would tell the doctor to kill me? It's a very simple matter. The banks were sick, I agree. Do you have to kill them and put people in the streets unemployed? Is that what you have to do? Is that what you do with your power? The banks were sick, I agree. The Attorney General has extensive powers in dealing with companies. I'm a lawyer, I know what I'm talking about. There are many ways of going about it. The way they went about it is wrong. And they have made so many people unemployed. People don't have money, so we don't buy, and the market women are complaining, and Kojo Nkrumah is surprised. We don't eat inflation figures. We want and we like free SHS, but we don't eat free SHS. And it is not only free SHS we want. When Nana Akufo-Addo came to power, all he was concentrating on was free SHS. He abandoned everything else. Now he has declared this year a year of roots. When I grew up and became a man, you know one of the things I used to wonder about? How did my father get money to buy shoe polish? Because he was responsible for buying shirts, trousers, food, etc. That is what the president has to do. He doesn't have to concentrate on only one thing. You do this, you do this, you do this. That is what John Mahama did. He built roads. He built hospitals. He built universities. What is the legacy of Akufo-Addo for which we must vote for him again? The last one, Akufo-Addo has been a lawyer for over 40 years. The very last point, In fact, next year, you have been a lawyer for 50 years. Like me, as a lawyer, all that we do is talk. Is that not so? Now, since 1996, every time we have presidential debates, for the first time in 2016, the opposition leader said he will not participate in the debate. And that opposition leader was who? Akufo-Addo. This year too, as president, he said he will not participate in the debate. In other words, he's not prepared to come and tell you why he wants to do A, B, C. Does he believe in freedom of speech?
Daniel, I need some 30 seconds to quickly react.
We'll give
Just
you
30 seconds.
All right.
Yeah, so let's give Mr. Oponkoma his 30 seconds.
First of all, it's not true that the banks have been killed and people have been sent home. That is not true. We agree that the banks were sick. The law required that bigger banks could be allowed to embrace the smaller banks that were sick and save the deposits and save the jobs. So, for example, you have Ghana Commercial Bank embracing, I think, UT Bank and Capital Bank. Okay? They didn't kill them. You had Ghana Commercial Bank doing a purchase and assumption a transaction. He's a lawyer. He knows. And out of 10,000 jobs that had literally been lost, they ended up saving about 7,000. Yes, about 3,000 people in the end are not going to hold on to their jobs. But what is better? Leaving the sick banks for the 10,000 jobs to go, or allowing the big banks to embrace them so that 7,000 jobs are going to be saved. Secondly, this consistent attack on President Akufo-Addo, I've tried very hard not to be attacking former President John Dramani Mahama. But this constant attack on President Akufo-Addo is unwarranted. This is a man who, on his watch, has not just been doing free SHS. He's been doing free SHS, he's been doing NAPCO, he's been doing planting for food and jobs, he's been buying ambulances, he's been working on roads and doing several other things.
Thank you, Kojo.
Let's not bastardize it for
Thank you, Mr. Kakresuman. Thank you, Madam President. We thank you for your time. Thank you for the things that you had to say. There's more. We'll be getting the take of the Electoral Commission. This year is all about the Electoral Commission. I mean, they are the center of this. So we will come back. Winston will have that conversation on the expectations, with the Electoral Commission. Daniel, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, in fact, let's give that to Winston right now and have that conversation with Fred Tete, Deputy Director of the Research Department of the EC. But a big thank you to our guests on the days once again. Winston.
Right, so thank you very much, Daniel and Mamavi. We've been joined by Fred Tete, who is Deputy Director of the Research Department of the Electoral Commission. You know, there was a question about a new voters register, but it's equally important we find out from the Electoral Commission how prepared they are for election 2020. Fred, thank you for joining us. So, what's the Electoral Commission's preparations for election 2020? Is everything on course?
Sure. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you very much, to thank Joy FM, Adum, and your affiliates in organizing this platform, Election Headquarters Launch 2020. I bring felicitation from the chairperson of the Electoral Commission as well, and the deputy chairman. Going back to your question as to the Electoral Commission being ready, yes, the commission is ready to go ahead with a fresh registration of voters. If you could recall, this is not the first time we've done registration in an election year. In the first registration that we did was in 1995 for the 1996 election, but not in the same year. But after that, if you could remember, the year 2004, we did fresh registration in that same 2004. And then in 2012, we did fresh registration in 2012 for the general elections. So going forward, the commission, as you are aware, and as it has been going on, we've engaged our stakeholders and we are prepared for a new voters register.
Not even the comments from this woman who says, why don't you just let it go, would change it? Nothing would change that plan?
Yes, nothing will change the plan because we've come clear on the air, on many platforms. We've explained ourselves, we've given justification why we should go for a new voters register, and in other words, a new voter management system. New voter management system because the kind of equipment that we are using now, the BVRs and the BVDs, are the end of life. They are failing off. The equipment, we've been able to cannibalize a lot of them to use for the 2019 assembly elections. The commission doesn't want to risk going to 2020 with that same type of equipment. and the voters' roll as well. Yes, the database is there, but the issue is what equipment are you going to use to run on the database?
Talking about the database there and the equipment you're going to be using to run on it. So if you look at the Special Budget Committees of Parliament's report, since 2016, you have spent about 80 million on the procurement and refurbishment of some BVDs. That's what even Imani is quoted. So based on this, there are concerns that what you actually need is further acquisition of some 30% more, and you're good to go. Why should that result in the compilation of a new voters register?
Well, there are so many justifications and reasons. Now, let's push aside in terms of the issue of the cost, because the commission is much more into value for money acquisition of this new biometric technology. What we have now, the kind of system that we have now, you are aware that we have a lot of manual verifications when it comes to voting. What we are trying to do now is the new biometric system that we are acquiring. Apart from the fingerprints and your biodata, okay, we are also adding what we call the facial recognition. One, this is what the facial recognition is going to do. The commission is not challenging the fact that the fingerprints biography or biometrics is inferior to the facial. The facial recognition is a complement to the new, what do we call it, the biometric.
Let me just cut in at this point. Let me just come in at this point, because if you look at the current system as we have it, now you have talked about the fact that we need to have facial recognition, right? And you have also talked about the fact that it is end of life. Yes, but even if you talk about it being end of life, there are those who have actually raised concerns that that particular situation, if we took pictures in the previous system, if we took pictures under the previous registration, must you necessarily invite all of us to come all over again rather than using the current system that you have?
In terms of, yes, because the system that we have now, yes, we took your pictures, but you cannot use it for facial recognition. That's one thing that people should know. Facial recognition technology is not inbuilt in the current system that we have. That is a new thing that we are trying to bring in, okay, in addition to the fingerprint technology, okay? The pictures that were taken when you registered in 2012, and then the revision sections that followed in 2015, and then 2016, and 2018, 2019, those ones are meant for the hard copy of the register and then having it shown on the PVD. They are not meant for a process of a typical facial recognition validation.
Okay, and talking about manual verification, right. Less than 1% of voters are manually verified. How is that a justification for a new voters register?
You see, if you are a stakeholder in the process, especially the candidate and then the political parties, if you could remember going to 2012, the cliche came that no verification, no vote.
Look at the camera.
It took the commission to come in with this same political party at the IPAC level to introduce what we call the manual verification.
Okay.
Right. So the commission doesn't want to give this discretion to determine who qualifies to vote when it is the turn of manual verification.
Thank you.
Presiding officers and then the polling agents.
Thank you very, very much. Fred Tete, who is Deputy Director of Research of the Electoral Commission, for joining us this morning. So we'll cross over to Daniel and Mama V.
Thank you, Winston. And well, Daniel, we've come to the end of this launch.
All too soon.
Yes.
I don't know how the time flies, but it's 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much to everyone who helped make this possible. Let me say a special thank you to our production team, Eko Sam, Papaya Wasare, Evans Mentor, who came on there, but
I didn't think you try and mention names because we can't go there. We have an amazing
There's
crew.
David Babu as well.
Yeah.
And K-Fresh on social media, I have to say, Kwekuche, K-Fresh and Dennis Fairboy.
Well, we want to
That's
say
all I can
a
say.
special thank you also to all the personalities that passed through this launch. Mr. Ibrahim Tanko of Star Ghana Foundation, Dr. Kuja Asante of the CDD, Dr. Kwesi Jonah of IDEC, Mr. Freddie Blee of the NPP, Mr. Kakra Estuman of the NDC, Kojo Ponkroma, the Information Minister. We thank the Bank of Africa for giving us breakfast this morning. So, Mr. Kobiano and your team, we are very grateful to you for breakfast.
And thank you, Mama V. You've been an amazing co-host. We should do this more often. And thank you for doing the viewing. Thank you for doing the listening. Thank you for engaging with us. So now, the election headquarters has officially been launched. Watch out for the programs that will come on the ground to a location near you. The ballot box begins next week, actually. And so look out for that. The most important thing is that we must work together to ensure that we are all informed come December 7, 2020. We will be with you every step of the way from now till December 7 and beyond to January 7, 2021. My name is Daniel Dazi, host of the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM.
My name is Mama Vio Swabwaji. I'm co-host of the AM show on the JoyNews channel. We thank our audience. We thank the AMA for allowing us to do this in their premises. We will see you tomorrow, God willing, on the Super Morning Show and, of course, on the AM show.
Have a good day.